Good evening, everyone, from Aloha Stadium. Good evening, everyone, from Aloha Stadium. Stadium Stars Television Sports presents Prep Bowl 26. Tonight, the defending state champion St. Louis Crusaders take on the Oahu Interscholastic Association champion Red Raiders of Kahuku. Aloha ahi ahi, I'm Al Morikami, along with Bill Lewis, bringing you the first half in tonight's Prep Bowl. And Bill, certainly a fine game, one that we've all been pointing to all season long.
Yeah, Al, that's exactly correct. And, you know, Kahuku's been here before, you know, knocking on the door. They say today they're going to kick it in and deliver the goods to the Prep Bowl here today.
And, of course, one of those that's going to help the Red Raiders knock in that door is running back Talamoni. 709 yards on 82 carries during the regular season. Good for over 8 yards a carry, 118 yards per game, and 8 touchdowns over the season.
Exactly, Al. He is a load. He is the mule. He is probably the best athlete of all three of their running backs. And he's going to have to do it again today to keep this defense honest of St. Louis, because he's going to have to do it all, carry it. He's going to have to average at least 5 yards a carry in order to keep the offense honest for Kahuku.
And, of course, clearing the way for him will be his backfield running mate, Andreas Manu Maleuna, the senior running back this season. 222 yards on 39 carries. That's about over nearly 6 yards per carry, 44 yards nearly per game. And when this young man rolls it up and gets it going, he is a bowling ball that becomes impossible to stop.
Well, you know what it is? He's going to be no stranger to the Crusader defense, because, you know, this guy is a reminder and almost a carbon copy of Chris Ma'afala, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers, late of Utah and formerly of the St. Louis Crusaders. And so St. Louis well aware of his talents and how he runs the ball. And watching their scout team this week, they had their defensive tackles running with the ball just to emulate him.
And, of course, one of the other big players on the other side of the field that we'll be watching for, though, will be Gerald Welch of the Crusaders. Second in receiving the ILH this season with 45 receptions for 817 yards and 11 touchdowns. 18.2 yards per reception, 5.0 every time he catches the ball. Welch averaged a score on almost every catch this season.
Well, Welch, they got a junior next to his name indicating what class he's in. Only some people are going to be confused. They think he's a junior in college with the talent that this young man has. He does everything for him. He runs the counters on the running plays. He's out there running deep patterns, short patterns. This guy does it all for St. Louis. And he's the man that Timmy Chang is going to have to get the ball to tonight and get it to him often.
One of 5 All-Americas on the
Ladies
team
and gentlemen,
is none other than linebacker
KSSK's
Joseph Seal
promotion team.
This young man, fast,
Sweetie
quick,
Baccaro,
can play either up on the line or play off at the linebacker position. He can wreak havoc against opposing teams.
This guy does everything but sell programs at halftime. He was a middle linebacker last year. They moved him to the outside to take the place of Tony Tata, and they haven't missed a beat there because, again, you don't know if it was Tony there or Joe Sofelli. A great student in the classroom. He gets it done on the field as well, and I'll tell you what, Kahuku well aware of him and probably will run away from him tonight.
On and off the playing fields. The Coach of the Week honors is brought to you by Oceanic Cable, the OIA, and KSSK Radio. Remember, if you know of anyone who deserves to be recognized, coach, assistant coach, trainer, or athletic director, etc., for any sport, any level, please remember to submit your nominations to KSSK Radio. The fax number is 595-4632. Let's give a big hand to Kahuku High School's varsity pep squad coach, Carol Kehoe. At this time, may we have the playing of our alma maters. Would you please rise first for the St. Louis alma mater, followed by the Kahuku alma mater. St. Louis, your alma mater, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to midfield. Singing tonight's national anthem will be Paul Po-Ching, Teroa Pasilio, Julian Solia, Fafetai Nunu, and Priscilla Sula of Nanakuli. They will sing a cappella our national anthem. Hello, football fans. Welcome to the 26th Annual Prep Bowl. Tonight's final game features the champions of the ILH, the St. Louis Crusaders, versus the OIA champs, the Kahuku Redraiders. Introducing your starting lineups. Defensive starters first for the St. Louis Crusaders. On the D-line, number 91, Junior Tangoai. Number 92, defensive tackle, William Mau Mau. Number 93, defensive tackle, Kanoa Noguchi. Your linebackers, number 7, Sol Tufanga. Number 42, Joseph Siofele. Number 43, Ikaika Kernan. And yellow linebacker, number 55, Alex Oliveira. At the cornerback, number 5, Junior Wong. At the other corner, number 6, Jandon Thornton Murray. The free safety, number 15, Una Latu. And your rover, number 24, Terana Fiasiu. Head coach of the St. Louis Crusaders, Mr. Cal Lee. And here are your rest of your St. Louis Crusaders. Now introducing the offensive starters for the Kahuku Redraiders. At left tackle, number 70, Kendall Blutel. At left guard, number 78, Tonio Fonotti. At center, number 65, Tufuli Masoy. At right guard, number 72, Samisi Tupola. At right tackle, number 71, Siwaki Levi. At tight end, number 88, William Sao. Your wide receivers, number 1, Alan Foster. The other wide receiver, number 3, T.C. Thompson. Your running backs for Kahuku, number 4, Andres Manu Maliuna. The other running back, number 2, Talamoni Talamoni. The quarterback, number 14, Wayne Funoi Moana. Head coach of the Kahuku Redraiders, Mr. Siwaki Levi, and the rest of the Kahuku Redraiders.
And welcome to Prep Bowl 26. The ceremonies are over. It just remains to see who will take the opening kickoff and who will be kicking off here in Prep Bowl 26. Good evening. I'm Al Morikami along with Bill Lewis. And you see out there the multiple team captains for both teams as well as the senior lineup out there for both squads. The anticipated match between the St. Louis Crusaders and the Kahuku Redraiders. Interestingly, as we saw the introductions, Bill, two different kinds of personalities. Kahuku, for the most part, coming out calm, collected, confident looking. The Crusaders coming out exuberant as if they've been here before.
Well, that's, Al, because they have been here before 12 times in a row. And one thing I like to remind everybody, because this has been in the press all week. Last year, this time, Kahuku was in the white division. And the OIA red division this year, not as strong as in the past. But on the other hand, the ILH, as we all know, not their best year either, as a lot of teams who were expected to fight it out for the top also struggled. So actually kind of question marks on both sides of the fence here. Kahuku coming in undefeated, St. Louis undefeated on the playing field, as no team has come up to beat them either. It's going to be an interesting game here. You got the boxer and the slugger.
And in essence, that's what it seems to be coming down to. Of course, Kahuku with their running attack.
White has won the toss
on the other hand,
and elected to defer.
As we get the, of course, the designation there as to what's going to be happening on the kickoff. Certainly, Bill, as you look at it, though, Kahuku, a team that basically builds their attack around the run. The Crusaders, on the other hand, a little different philosophy. They throw the ball up in the air, but use the running attack to balance what they do in the air.
Balance is true, Al, because, if you look at the stats, St. Louis runs their yardage rushing, their yardage passing are almost identical, 50-50. So a team trying to prepare for them has to both prepare for the run and the pass. But make no mistake about it, Kahuku's going to have their hands full. They say that Kahuku defensively, they're going to have to try to play man-to-man at some time, because if they sit back in the zone, either in a cover 2 with 2 deep or a cover 3 with 3 deep, they're going to get killed underneath in the middle. If they try to go man-to-man, something that they're unaccustomed to doing with an offense like St. Louis, they're going to get chewed up deep. So I think, and on the other side of the coin, they say that St. Louis's secondary is the weakest part of their defense. Well, if 36 interceptions is the weakest part of their defense, I'll tell you what, Kahuku's still going to be in trouble.
Interestingly, one of the most interesting notes coming out of this ball game, you recall last season St. Louis Kahuku met up in the preseason, and in that one, Noah Campbell did not play any kind of a key. In fact, was injured on the sideline. Sophomore running back Damian Cole, 88 yards rushing, 1 touchdown in the game was the key. Will that be history repeating itself? We'll see. As Prep Bowl 26 prepares to get underway here at Aloha Stadium. Crusaders looking for their 13th straight. Kahuku looking to make the first dent in many a year for the OIA. Koyama with the kick, and Prep Bowl 26 gets underway with the ball going out of bounds. This will be Kahuku ball up around the 30-35 yard line.
And I got Al, one of the things we didn't get a chance to touch on pregame is as we see a flag down at the 10-yard line. That's probably again for the out of bounds on a kick, but I think field position is going to be critical, as well as special teams. Who has to play on the most field tonight is probably going to come up on the short end of the stick.
The current temperature right now is 76 degrees. Winds out of the east-northeast at 16 miles per hour. Weather forecast calling for occasional trade showers passing through the area. But we shall see. It has been dry so far throughout as we open up action here. Kahuku with the ball at their own 35. 1st and 10. This is Talamoni on the run. Looking at Kahuku's offensive lineup, the quarterback is Wayne Fanoi Moana. In the backfield, Andreas Manu Maleuna opens up at fullback with Talamoni in the tailback position. Joe Cioffelli making the tackle on the play.
Incredible. If I'm Kahuku, the first thing and the last thing I want to do is run away from Joe Cioffelli. They're going to run straight at him. They did. He tried to get outside. No doing. He actually got double teamed on the tackle there. As I think Joe did a great job bringing him down at the line of scrimmage.
Thomas Thompson, Alan Foster, the receivers, William Sal, the tight end. Talamoni on 2nd down. Gets stuck in the backfield, brought down for a 5-yard loss.
So Toapaga comes up, number 7, makes the stop. Again, little misdirection, little counter. Again, trying to use the aggressiveness of the defense for St. Louis to come up here and try to fool them. Again, it fools nobody as Tufaga, the linebacker, comes up, number 7. You see him in your picture there. And he picks up for a loss of about 2 yards. And again, it forces Kahuku into something they're not accustomed to doing, Al, and that's throwing the football.
Correction on the play. That was Kaipo Fiatoa on the carry, stopped for the 5-yard loss, but they're going to say his forward momentum was stopped a yard back, so 3rd and 11 now, and to the air goes Fanoi Moana, overshoots his intended receiver on the play.
And again, Al, Kahuku is used to throwing the ball when they're in control of the football game. When you do that, you're more confident, you're more accustomed to completing the passes. If they're going to have to sit back on 3rd and long and try to complete passes, it's going to be a long evening for Kahuku, and St. Louis is going to wrap this thing up in the first half.
On 4th down and 11. Red Raiders going to boot this away. That one almost blocked. As Orlando Wong in there to put the foot to it. Gerald Welch will back up on this one, and the ball will take a Kahuku bounce, a big bounce inside the 15 down to the 13-yard line.
That's a 25-yard extra kick, because I tell you what, the ball landed at the 40, looked like it was going to kick out of bounds. It takes a bounce the other way, and that's why the ball's shaped the way it is, Al, and it rolls all the way back inside the 15. St. Louis again playing on a longer field. We pointed it out earlier, I did. Whoever ends up playing on the shortest part of the field is going to win this game.
53 yards on the punt as Timmy Chang comes out. He's at quarterback. We expect to see Noah Campbell in the backfield, slot backs, Leighton Oliviato, Gerald Welch, George, and Rodriguez at the wide receivers. On 1st and 10, here come the Crusaders staying on the ground as angling out of bounds goes their running back Noah Campbell. Might have made a yard or two, but that will be it.
Malio, number 32 comes on. No, that's Campbell right there on the run. As we'll get an opportunity to take a look at the Prep Bowl replay. And you'll see Campbell trying to get outside the corners. He does turn the corner, basically picks up about 2.5, let's call it. It's going to bring up second down.
Chang comes to the line, sends Welch in motion. Chang looking away, going up the field, double coverage. And let's see, it's a catch. Up around the 36-yard line. As hauling that one in is number 82, Canelli George, the 6-foot, 165-pound senior receiver.
Again, their hurry-up offense right now as we get a look at Timmy Chang's first pass. They're sitting back in a cover 2, Kahuku is, and only the free safety can't get over there in time.
Interior linemen are Castro, Liu, Kahale, Souza, and Narcon. 20-yard completion on the pass. First down, 10, ball at the 37 of the Crusaders. Their first possession, and Kahuku goes offsides.
Right now, Kahuku really doesn't know what's going to happen. They've only run 2 plays. They picked up 2 yards on one, a chunk on another, penalty here. And again, that hurry-up offense, I think, is going to help St. Louis again because, again, Kahuku is going to have to rush up there with their defensive coverages. You'll see a lot of zone because of that.
So 1st and 5 after the penalty. Ball advanced to the 42. Crusaders with trip sets to the far side. Campbell going to run it up. Loses a yard on the play. Back to the 41-yard line. The interior defense for the Kahuku Red Raiders. Up front, they have Kilo Naki, Puna Vendiola, Hala Paango, Pupi Toilupe.
You see right here, Noah Campbell. Somebody better tell the Aloha Stadium folks that there's a brick wall standing at about the 40-yard line because that's what Campbell runs into. Just a brick wall of a defensive lineman over there for Kahuku.
2nd down, 6, ball at the 41. Chang going to go upstairs. Chang with some time. Under some pressure, escapes, has a zip lane, can pick up the first down and will near midfield. Nice run by Chang there.
Good coverage by Kahuku that time. Again, in that cover 2, they showed blitz. They pulled out of it at the end. And unfortunately for Kahuku, what that did was it really left the void on the right side of the field. As we get a chance to see it here, good offensive line blocking. Campbell steps up to try to pick up the blitz, only it didn't materialize. Chang's going to put it down, pick it up the first down at about the 50.
The linebacking crew for Kahuku, Loa Morazco, Lincoln Manutai, Pati Milo. and 10, ball at the 49. And Welch on the carry, and Welch with first down in Kahuku territory. Call it about, though, out around the 37-yard line.
Welch is going to run about 3 or 4 plays tonight now, and every single one of them is going to be the counter, that misdirection. They're going to show Campbell right, and they're going to come back with Welch. That time it was a real quick counter. Actually, Welch almost in motion. He turns that corner, picks up another first down, and again, St. Louis at will, and here they are in a hurry-up offense again. 14-yard pickup as back to the air go the Crusaders. Pass in and out of the hands of the receiver Arsenal downfield. Flag on the play. And on that note, we'll give you the rest of the starting defense for Kahuku, which is Daniel Mapu in the defensive backfield, along with Tavo Tupola, Hiram Peters, and Bryson Au. The official discussing it right now. It doesn't look good for the team in white. We won't speculate because, again, I don't know if because they're talking a long time there, Al, over. It'll be a procedure call probably, and that's what it looks like. One of the banes of the Crusaders this season has been staying out of penalty situations, and they get penalized there to bring up 1st and 15. Ball back at the 42 of Kahuku. Double slot formation. Here's Chang, the quick hitter. Drops this down into his receiver, and it's none other than, of course, number 2, Gerald Welch. Well, Gerald Welch does everything. He runs, he throws, he catches it. He probably gives the coaches advice at halftime. I'm not sure, but again, this is just a real quick 2-step. If that, it's just a quick, almost a hitch to a slot back. And again, what Kahuku has to do is maintain these receivers after they catch the ball. They don't want to break off any long yardage. Ball at the 33. 2nd and 6 for the Crusaders.
The delayed handoff, Campbell picks it up off the carpet. It gets about a yard. Could have had more if he didn't play basketball with it out there.
He was very fortunate because the bounce came right back up to him. That was a draw play again. Kahuku looking for a pass, and it comes back with the draw. And you see it right here again. Not a real clean exchange, but lucky and fortunate that it bounced right back up to him, where he could have had more yardage than that.
Nice reverse angle shot on the play. Crusaders dominating in time of possession. It's 8:18 now as the flags go flying.
This is going to be interesting now because you got St. Louis moving at the same time, Kahuku running across, and it's going to be against St. Louis. And this is a big penalty, Al, because, you got the ball at the 33-yard line, almost fourth down territory. They're not going to punt the ball here. Now you bring it back behind the 35, almost to the 38. You know what? Now if they don't make it here, they probably will be forced to punt the ball. Here it is right here again. Chang calling the signals. Everybody's... Well, you know what? The ball was snapped. It was clean. I don't understand that. Just the other lineman didn't move.
Sideline warning is being issued against St. Louis.
Following the penalty, 3rd and 11 now. Ball at the 38. Crusaders hanging on to the ball for most of this first quarter. Ironically, this is exactly what Kahuku wanted to be able to do against the Crusaders. St. Louis pulling the switcheroo. Clock winding down now, 8 minutes and change, first quarter. Chang back to pass on 3rd and 11. Chang fires over the middle, incomplete. No one in the area. Chang looking for the intermediate receiver, wasn't there, Bill.
No, and again, because of that penalty dropping them back, they can't go for it now. The 33-yard line is one thing. Here's the replay. I think the ball just got away from him because he had his man open. Arsenal looks like. Oh, no, that was Welch, but now Jan Thornton Murray's going to be in the punt and try to look for the coffin corner here.
Murray gets some air under this, but not much in the way of yardage. He'll take a Kahuku bounce and finally be down at about, call it the 28-yard line, as pouncing on it is number 41 of the Crusaders. Barrett Argo, the cornerback, 5'9", 190, a senior, 14 yards net.
That's he'd like to have that one back. He should probably better off trying to kick it out of the corner as opposed to trying to kick it high up, as we get a look at the Kahuku Redraiders for the second time.
So their second possession. Here come the Red Raiders. On the carry is Latuselu this time.
And he almost lost the ball coming through the line of scrimmage. They had a hole there earlier. Latusea comes up, but again, he does manage to hold on to it as number 15 for the Crusaders comes up to make the stop.
Gain of 8, ball to the 36.
Latu there, and you'll see here, he's going to cut it outside, and he's got the hole there, and Latu comes up and almost strips him of the ball. He's got some help from number 55 coming up over there on the linebacker spot, Alex Oliveira.
From the 36, 2nd and 2. As coming around the corner, trying to get out on the perimeters, Latuselu again.
Yeah, and Jandon Thornton Murray's going to come up from his defensive back spot, and he's had a real good second half. Didn't play a whole lot the first half, as they had a young sophomore up there tearing up the league. But Jandon Thornton Murray, again, a veteran, a senior, is going to come up here from his cornerback spot, and this is what you can do with a team that's going to run the ball a lot, Al. You can take the chance to bring your corners up.
On 3rd and short, Manu Maleuna trying to come up, gets stopped at the line of scrimmage. That may be all.
Now they're going to have to punt the ball, but watch them to try to draw them off sides. But, Crusaders, this is a veteran team. But they got 9 seniors on this defense out here, Al. Doesn't look like that they're going to, well, let's say they've got veterans out there on the defensive side. Here's the replay here again. This is a trap play that never materialized, really kind of slow. And when you got big offensive linemen like that, you run that risk. They're not quick guards, but they're big. And this is incredible. This is incredible, Al. This early in the game to go for it, incredible.
4th and 1, ball at the 37.
They're going to try and draw them off sides is what they're going to do, Al. It actually should be a penalty because the wide receiver took a forward step, and there was no call. Then Janet Thornton Murray pointed it out to the official. But a veteran defense right there. Cal Lee's probably told them that when they came out there. I couldn't believe that they would try to go for that anyway, Al.
Just to give you an idea of the size that we've been talking about, the Kahuku starting lineup. Tupola goes 6 feet, 263. Masoi goes 5'11", 280. Kendall Butel, 6'2", 288. Siyuaki Levi Jr., 6'3", 310. And Tonio Fonotti, 6'4", 300 is the interior line.
Right there, 0-0 already in the first quarter. First downs, though, 3. Kahuku yet to get one, and they're going to have to punt here, Al. So St. Louis defense already doing the job, but again, the defensive secondary has come up a couple times to make the stop. This is where that play action can really come back to get them. If St. Louis is not careful and stays home with their mechanics and bumping the tight ends, that play action could get up and get them. But so far, it hasn't materialized, and Kahuku's going to be forced to punt the ball.
6 minutes exactly remaining, first quarter. Halfway point of the opening stanza. Unalatu going to drop back to return the punt as Kahuku running the quick punt. Sky-high punt, not much yardage on this. Will land inside Kahuku territory at the 47, up to the 48, and it will die there. That will be Crusader ball.
That's a mistake, Al. This is what I talked about earlier. Who's going to play on the short side of the field? Who's playing on the long side? I think right now, if this was a tennis game, it would be advantage St. Louis. They're moving the ball pretty much at will. Penalty stopped them earlier, but now they got the ball on Kahuku's side of the field. Let's see what they can do with it.
15 yards net on that punt by the Kahuku Redraiders as Timmy Chang and the Crusaders come out for their second possession of the ball game. In good field position, ball already in Kahuku territory at the 48. On 1st and 10, Oliviato in motion, and right away another flag comes flying. Crusaders apparently going to be hit for illegal motion, perhaps. We'll see.
You have a dead ball false start on the offense. Still first down.
False start called against the Crusaders. This will set them back into their own part of the field.
Well, you know, this is not going to hurt a whole lot because they throw the ball and pick up so much yardage throwing the ball. You don't like it, but it's not something that's going to hurt them.
So Crusaders now 1st and 15. Ball back at the 47. The delay to Campbell. Campbell with all kinds of running room. Picks up the first down and a little more down around the 34-yard line.
And again, when you're that deep in the backfield, you can turn the corner. And it's St. Louis who is getting around the corners instead of the Kahuku running backs. And we'll see Noah Campbell do what he does best, and that's take the ball and run with it out. And he's going to turn, and he's going the other way. Again, they're using their offense. Wide open St. Louis, he's going to score out.
And this is going to be Isaac Rodriguez on the deep pass. 34 yards on the completion. The Crusaders score first. This is exactly what everyone and his brother who's into football, Bill, has been saying all week long. The Crusaders have to come out fat, use their quickness and experience, and get downfield quickly and put a lot of points on the board in a hurry.
Well, what they did was they caught the defense. They weren't even ready. When they came up to snap the ball, the defensive secondary was still trying to figure out what they were doing, and they left a man wide open down the sidelines, and it was really, you could have rolled it to him.
Welch will hold. The kick by Lau. It is good. And the Crusaders lead 7-0 over Kahuku. 5:33 remaining, first quarter.
Mark this in your book, Al, right here. The St. Louis got the ball on the 48-yard line to start this drive, minus the 5-yard penalty still. Half a football field, real quick. You see it right here again. There's the bench. Oh, he's being blocked right now. We're trying to get him. There he is right there. And we're going to get a replay coming up right here. Again, the defense secondary not set at all. Timmy Chang, again, looks right, and there is nobody. As you see in your picture, there he is in the corner, but nobody near George. And he takes it, runs for the corner, and boom, 6-0, the extra point 7, and something Kahuku, with the exception of Kailua, I believe it was. They got down 14-0. So they've been down before, Al, but that's Kailua, not St. Louis. 7-0.
And so, the St. Louis Crusaders draw first blood. 5:33 remaining. The Crusaders have had the best of it. As Koyama approaches, squibs it along the ground. It'll be Wong to pick it up, or maybe he'll let it just squib out of bounds, I believe, and yes, it will.
That's a mistake, Al. He could have let it roll out of bounds and had the ball up there at the 30. Instead, he tried to pick it up. Difficult situation at best, probably, but now they get the ball on the 15-yard line. Here we get the replay coming up here. Again, squib kick. Special teams have been known to hurt St. Louis, and so what this does is gives their coverage team a chance to get down there. And there you see the mistake there. He couldn't field the ball.
So that puts Kahuku in a hole to open up their third possession of the game from their own 15. Little spread set option around the corner comes Fanoi Moana. Gain of about 6 on the play right away. Fanoi Moana coming out around the corner.
Yeah, that's the first time we've seen the option today, Al. And again, good coverage by the defense as everybody stayed home and did their responsibility. Middle linebackers got the dive man here. They try to option the end. They do, but Toronto Ferracillo comes up from his secondary position and makes the stop on the quarterback.
Second down 4. Ball at the 21 of Kahuku. Man in motion is Fiatoa. The pitch to Fiatoa. Fiatoa, first down yardage. Crusaders, though, drag him down up around the 30-yard line, but not before the young man picks up the first down.
And again, the first down for Kahuku right now, that's something that they need out because they've got to try to build a foundation right now to get some confidence. They've been scored on quickly. You're going to see a good job with the offense. I think probably the Achilles heel for St. Louis. They're a good job by the corner to come up, but Unulatu's got to come up from a secondary position, and he is chasing to make that tackle. Otherwise, he's in the end zone.
Nice job by Wong. It was on the first down carry. Comes Fanoi Moana, pick up a 5 on the play again.
What Kahuku has found is they've found something that's working, the option. I guarantee you, Al, they're going to stick with this because they're picking up first downs. Here it is here. It's just option, right? Linebackers are coming down. Again, nobody's on the quarterback. That's the end position of the defensive end for St. Louis, and he didn't do his job.
2nd and 4, they're going to call this ball at the 34-yard line. The misdirection as they try to dive the counter off the far side, but the Crusaders stuff it.
And I'm surprised at that, Al, because you know the option the last 3 times has worked. They pick up the first down, they pick up almost 6 yards on the next play, and then they try to dive up the middle. Right now, I think they got to stick to that. As you see it right here, you know the middle of the field right now is the worst place to try to run the football. That's where most of the players are. So I think they should need to stick to the outside option right now or off tackle option in order to be effective.
Manu Maliuna on that carry. Again, the option around the corner, and you're right. As Fiatoa, one of the few speed backs they have for the Kahuku Redraiders, found himself a zip lane but couldn't stay in it.
Usually the free safety is designated on the pitch man on the option now, and what they're doing is they're finding a lane, the zip lane as you like to say. Again, that's just to keep the linebackers honest, the fake right here. Again, somebody's on the quarterback, nobody on the pitch man. He doesn't fall down. I'll tell you what, this guy is on the other side of the 50-yard line.
So 1st down and 10, ball at the 41. Wing in a slot formation. Manu Maliuna on the carry, on the fake, and a fumble as Fanoi Moana on the misdirection handoff tried to get it out to Latu Selu. And also Fiatoa out there, I believe.
I'm not sure, Al, but what I think what's happening right now with the Kahuku, they're audibilizing on the line of scrimmage to the weak side. If you'll notice, the linebackers or the defense is setting up a strong side, weak side, and Kahuku is audibilizing the option to the weak side. That gives the defense one less man to cover, and that's why I think they're being so effective. As you see right now, they're overloaded to the left side.
Following the loss, 2nd and 12, ball at the 39. As Kahuku angling it off the far side this time. Gets back to about the 45-yard line, but that will be all. They need to get to the other side of the 50 to the Crusader, just over the 49 to the 48 for the first down.
You get a picture right there of number 43 for the Crusaders. That's Ikaika Kern, the young sophomore. I'll tell you what, this guy's doing a great job. He had a great season. Led the team in tackles with 79. They
ought to call it linebacker high, just like they call Penn State linebacker U. 3rd down 6, ball at the 45. Fiatoa goes in motion and action off the top of the screen, and let's just see what this is all about.
You're going to get 2 penalties, one against Kahuku, and then you're going to get a personal foul against St. Louis because he leveled the offensive lineman there, and I'll tell you what, terrible call by, just terrible by St. Louis, and that's what you're going to get.
On the offense, still 3rd down.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Al, I'm surprised. There we go. We see it right here. There's the illegal procedure right there. We can't see it, but the defensive end for St. Louis comes across and leveled them, and we saw another flag. They must have picked it up, but I'm incredible. I thought that should have been a personal foul on St. Louis.
3rd and 11, ball at the 40. This is usually the situation that Kahuku wanted to stay out of. And also the situation where Fanoi Moana sometimes is forced to go to the airways. He will. Completes the pass out to Thompson. Thompson stretches for the 1st down, may have it. Needed to get to the St. Louis 48 for it. He may have got there. Looks like he did.
Yeah, he did. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a good mark.
Take another look at it here.
It's not a 1st down now. He's short by half a football. But I'll tell you what, good pass here, good running, good job by the defensive back right there, Jen and Thornton Murray, to drive him out of bounds. And again, good mark by the officials as we see it on the replay. But this is going to bring up a 4th down. And if I'm the coach, Al, I'm sorry, I'm punting the football. I think you have to punt. It's just too early in the game. You don't want to get down early, 14-0.
Well, you know, they've been running that specialized play, but looks like Kahuku's going to come out and go for it. Or maybe at least try to draw St. Louis off on the penalty.
If that's the case, fine, but if not, then...
They just go straight ahead.
Yeah, but again, Al, I don't like that call for one reason. If you don't make it, you really put yourself in a bind. It's still the 1st quarter, and you really, as a coach, you want to give your team an opportunity to be in it at the end of the game, or have an opportunity to win it at the end of the game. And I don't like that call for that reason. But hey, it's a great gutsy call. They get the 1st down. St. Louis, Ikaika Curran coming up makes the stop, but he gets the 1st down.
And not many have stood up Manu Maliuna this season. And again, on the ground comes Fiatoa and company as he comes blasting through there on the off-tackle play. Unalatu coming up to help make the stop on Fiatoa.
And they're good. You know, something St. Louis is not ever going to be accused of, and that's poor tackling. They do a good job tackling. They team tackle. We get the replay coming up here again. Again, good job, good lead block up there. He finds the hole. Unalatu's got to come up. He wraps up, does a good job for a 5-yard, 6-yard gain.
So 2nd and 4, ball at the 41 of the Crusaders. To the air goes Kahuku on 2nd down.
I like that play, Al. I like it because you know what? It's the first time that they were in control. They could throw the ball because they wanted to and not because they had to. And if Kahuku can stay in situations like that, they're going to be competitive and stay in this game. Here's the replay here. Again, just overthrown because actually he was open. Good coverage, too. Jen and Thornton Murray on the coverage, it looks like.
Junior Wong, rather.
Junior Wong, thank you.
On Thompson that time. This brings up 3rd down 4, ball at the 41. Double tight end set. 14 seconds remain to the end of the 1st quarter. Latuselu angles off, but a flag comes flying, and usually on the side where you penalize the offense.
Usually you would think holding. Illegal procedure, and again, now we get into the situation where they're going to have to throw because they have to, Al. Or go with the option. You know, I like an option on this situation, too, because it's almost like a screen. Because the defense is looking for you to throw the ball, or in this situation, you would think they would if it was an ILH team. This is OIA. So, again, this is where I think Kahuku has the advantage because you don't know if they're going to run it or throw it.
We have an illegal procedure, 6 men on the line of scrimmage against the offense, still 3rd down.
So with 10 seconds left in the 1st quarter, St. Louis leading 7-0. 3rd and 9, ball at the 46 of the Crusaders. Red Raiders deploy their passing package with Fiatoa and company in the pattern. Deep pass, too long, and a flag comes flying as Fanoi Moana sent that one up to Aiea Heights.
This will probably be holding against Kahuku. Probably declined by St. Louis, I would think. It's a holding. Interesting call here because it brings up a 4th down now. Me as a coach, I would decline it. I think Cal will probably do the same thing.
Holding on the offense. The penalty is refused. 4th down.
And that's why he's won 202 games now, is because he makes decisions like that.
So simple, yet you have to keep so much in mind as the special teams come on for the Red Raiders. Orlando Wong will stay in to punt. And Gerald Welch back deep to receive as he comes on at the last second. The sky punt. Again, not much yardage on this, but a lot of hang time. But it only gets up to about the 24 of the Crusaders, and that will be it.
Well, and you know, I'm really surprised now that I thought the special teams would really play a bigger part in this game than what they have. And probably, you know, and I think back on it, because both punters really haven't done a great job, it really has played a part in it, but not the way I think everybody expected. Only 30 yards on the punt. And that's the end of the first quarter round. I think right now, if this was a 15-round championship fight, would be after 5 rounds or 4 rounds, I'd say the advantage, obviously, to St. Louis. They've got first downs, you know, more. They're moving the ball consistently. Kahuku, again, had an opportunity here, but comes up with the penalties, stalls themselves. Right now, St. Louis in the driver's seat.
And realistically, although Kahuku at this point evening out the time of possession by being able to hold the ball for the last 5.5 minutes of the first quarter, the simple fact is the Crusaders have owned the clock for the most part.
Well, and again, what they've done is by holding on to the ball like that is they keep the St. Louis juggernaut offense off the field. So, and again, they're doing their job. They didn't put points up, but there's still 7 points within the game.
So the second stanza, second 12 minutes, and the Crusaders with possession for the 4th time this evening. On the end around, this is Welch. And a flag comes flying at the end of the play, but not before Welch picks up the first down.
You know, this is just great blocking by the wide receiver. They're going to call holding on this, and that's, I think, is a terrible call. That's just terrible. All he did was shield, because we were watching it from up here. And
so instead of a 6th Crusader first down, instead, this will be a penalty against St. Louis. It'll back them up 5. Take them back to inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line, I believe. Oh, wait, they're going to penalize from the point of the foul.
Still first down.
Right, it's from the point of the infraction is we're going to get the replay right here. We'll get an opportunity to see it. Again, it's that counter we mentioned that Welch runs 3 or 4 times a game, and maybe we'll get an opportunity to see it in the picture. Right there it is right there. And I don't see the holding at all.
Well, instead, it brings up a 1st and 8 from the 26 for the Crusaders. 11:53, second quarter. The delay and in the backfield and brought down is Damian Cole, who's come in. Losses back to
Chris Kamoya.
23.
Kamoatu coming up to make the stop and didn't fool anybody on this as there was no lane there. It's just the side of a wall.
So 2nd and 11 for Chang and the Crusaders. Go upstairs to, I believe this is Ho coming in. Correction, that's Welch on the carry, or rather that is Gerald Cowie. Ho this time.
All right, Ho's coming in again. He's not playing a whole lot, probably still some lingering effects from the injury he suffered a couple of weeks ago, a hamstring pull. As we get the replay here, Kahuku's defense coming up big right here. Chang actually, I think, throws this ball sooner than he wants to, although I don't know why, because he really had no pressure. Leonard Peters comes up to make the stop.
Oliviato comes on. Trip sets to the near side for Chang and the Crusaders. 3rd down and 11. Chang hopping back. Has Oliviato. Oliviato looking for the first down. May just have got it.
Let's see where they mark it out. This is going to be interesting. And I think he's going to be short.
Needed to get up, around the 34-yard line.
This is going to be the point of the ball short, and here's the replay here again. Chang back, Aliviato dragging underneath. This is what you do in a coverage where they're in the zone. He's got to look at the yard markers right now and try to pick up that first down. He's not real big. Actually, he's one of the smallest people, in the stadium, only at 5'1". But interesting here, fourth down. And
it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Fourth down, less than one. Ball at the 34, and flags go flying as we have a little bit of
contact, encroachment on the defense.
Offsides, and you know this is why St. Louis, again, Kahuku did it against Kahuku tried this against St. Louis. Ineffective because they got veterans out there. They've been in situations like this before. Kahuku again, you're going to see again. Watch Timmy Chang's hands. They weren't even under center. Okay, weren't even under center because if they were, he can't drop back.
So 1st and 10, ball at the 39 for Chang and the Crusaders. Going upstairs for the deep pattern. Almost picked off. Back deep in the coverage, helping out there. Mapu along with Matagi Jr. Check it out again here.
But Tungai, you're going to see it's going to hit him right in his. He looks like the intended receiver. Oh, you know why? Welch falls down as we see it on the replay. Tipped right there and almost intercepted by number 6.
Daniel
Mapu coming up and almost making that interception.
On second down, Chang to the air. Fires is complete to Gerald Welch. Every time the Crusaders need a big pass play, it's to Gerald Welch, and Welch burns the Red Raiders once again.
It almost looks like the Gerald Welch show, Al, from up here, because it looks like he's pretty much doing everything for him right now. Again, Timmy's got enough time to throw the ball. When you do that, with a guy who's thrown over 29 touchdown passes in a regular season, you're going to get plays like that.
From the Kahuku 39, 1st and 10 following the 21-yard completion from Chang to Welch. The delay to Cole. Cole with a zip lane. Cole straight ahead, busts it up near the 30-yard line.
These guys could be confused as twins when they're in uniform because, you don't know which. They look the same, Damian Cole, Noah Campbell. But the difference is that Cole has really come on late in the season. Campbell's kind of slowed down a little bit.
And Cole has had probably better success than Campbell has against Kahuku. 88 yards in the preseason in 97. 2nd and 2, ball at the 32 of Kahuku. Balance set for the Crusaders. Chang wings this deep, has a man leaping and incomplete.
Good coverage. Excellent coverage. Ran step for step with George out there. That is George, by the way, number 82. On the coverage for Kahuku.
Hiram Peters. And Peters did a good job shaking up right now as we get the Pepsi Generation replay. Watch it. Timmy Chang again, all day to throw. He throws it up. He's got enough air under it. The tip of the ball's coming down. And you're going to see right there, they both go up for it. Just great defensive play right there. He's hurt. Watch for him now to come right back at that guy because he's a new guy on the game right now, and that could be a problem.
And I turn to you at this point. One of the things that we figured on was the fact that perhaps Kahuku would come with more defenders against Chang, try and rattle his cage, if not sack him. So far, very little pressure put on Chang.
And they're going to have to make that adjustment and put some pressure on him, otherwise he's going to be completing more passes like that.
3rd and 2, ball at the 32 of Kahuku. Chang taking some time to look over the defense. Chang fires it over the middle, complete. And turning it up the field is Isaac Rodriguez. One of the things that we were looking at over the past couple of seasons, Bill, we said, where were the Crusader receivers? Somebody must have heard us because Isaac Rodriguez, Canali George have come on in the second half of the
season. Here's the replay right here, Al. Again, the Kahuku Redraiders are in a cover 3, and when you do that, you leave the middle open right past underneath and over top of the linebackers. And again, yards after catch is what we talked about earlier. You got to contain the receivers. Once they catch the ball, you've got to contain them with the yards after catch. They're not doing it.
27 yards on the pass completion. And just as the Crusaders try to run it up, the whistle blows as Campbell is stalled momentarily as he runs into the arms of the defender there, number 92.
Timeout.
This will be timeout, Kahuku.
Fata Avegalio.
He's calling the defense over. Kahuku's defense is going to come on over to the coach. St. Louis right now is really got Kahuku where they want. There's still 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. It seems like we played almost the whole game up here in the box. But 7-0 already, St. Louis. They get ready to knock on the door here and puts them down 14-0. Again, we said earlier, they've been here before against Kailua. But against St. Louis, I don't know that you can get down 14 points and really come back, because this offense for St. Louis can put some points on the board.
Chang this evening to this point, 5 for 8, 110 yards and 1 touchdown toss. Thanks to Mike Nelson keeping the numbers for us this evening here in the first half. I'm Al Morikami along with the coach, Bill Lewis. It's 7-0, Crusaders threatening with the ball on the doorstep of the Red Raiders, and certainly a kind of a action so far that really a lot of people weren't expecting to have the Crusaders continue to dominate. A lot of people were expecting, myself included, the running attack of Kahuku would push St. Louis all over the field. It hasn't happened. It's been totally the opposite direction.
They need big play right now from their defense to really keep St. Louis out of the end zone. Try to settle for the 3 if possible.
1st and 5, goal to go. Campbell stops, stutters, and will lose yardage back to about the 7-yard line.
This play here was not designed to get in the end zone, Al. This is a setup play. They're setting it up to go to the right side here to come back probably with the counter to Welch here, or probably the lob pass. Chang likes to throw to his right side. I'm not saying that they didn't want to get in the end zone. They did, but again, I think their play here is to set up the next play.
So that brings up 2nd down now. Ball at the 7. Goal to go. Man in motion is Welch. The pass complete to Oliviato, and he gets dragged down at the 4.
That was just a strength tackle. Oh my goodness. You know, and Oliviato, not that big anyway, we mentioned earlier.
But as you mentioned, Bill, the sweep again to the far side of the field, and now the Crusaders come back to Oliviato this time.
They come to Oliviato here, and you're going to see Marasco come down here and just reach out, grab him, and just bring him down. Good job here. Keep him out of the end zone.
Bull ball. Little bit of an option here for the Crusaders. Campbell dives. Touchdown, St. Louis.
Good option. Chang was just about brought down, and he manages to pitch it back out. He gets it to Campbell. Campbell, one of the most powerful running backs on the Crusader team, carries into the end zone. He just gets the ball across the pylon, and Kahuku just didn't do what they needed to do and keep him out of the end zone. But for 2 plays, it looked like they were going to do it.
You know, it's like the old child's nursery rhyme. Anything you can do, I can do better. The extra point by Lau is good. 14-0. St. Louis leads Kahuku, and who would have thunk it with all the hype and with everything that everybody's been saying? 14-0. St. Louis, 7:57 remaining in the half.
Well, something I got down on my notes, but I failed to mention it earlier is I think we see the Zippy's Restaurant replay right here. Again, watch Timmy Chang as he just does get rid of this. He is wrapped up like a tortilla, but he gets it off to Campbell. Again, a missed tackle right there. He dives in at the pylon at the end there, gets into the end zone. And I'll tell you what, a guy who doesn't get enough credit, because Cal Lee, 202 victories, but I'll tell you what, he doesn't get 202 without the name of Ron Lee helping him. This is his orchestra, his baby. You got the leader, Cal Lee, but Ron is the one that makes this orchestra run with this offense. And he comes up with a game plan, game in, game out, effective for what he needs to do. I guarantee you he had 2 game plans tonight. 1 in case it rained, 2 if it didn't. We're seeing the one that didn't.
So 7:57 remaining to the half, 14-0. St. Louis leads Kahuku. As the ball skittering along the ground, gets by Orlando Wong, will go all the way back to the end zone for a Kahuku touchback.
Well, Kahuku really needs to get the ball into Wong's hands on special teams because he makes things go. He had a 95-yarder against Kailua when they were down 14-0 to bring it back for the first score. But St. Louis is doing a good job of keeping the ball away from him. Kahuku has to get on the board. Actually, 14-0, they really don't have to get on the board, but it probably would be nice.
7:57 remaining to the half. Kahuku coming up, trailing 14-0 now in a situation they didn't want to find themselves in. see if they stay on the ground. Actually, 14-0, they probably still could. And it'll be Fanoy Moana with the zip lane. Out over the 40 to about the 44-yard line.
Dragged out of bounds by Unulatu. Otherwise, he's doing a dance in the end zone. And Al, I'm surprised. I don't know why Kahuku doesn't stay with the option, because really it's something that St. Louis is having some problems with right here until they get somebody to contain on the quarterback on a consistent level, as we'll see on the replay here. You're going to see the option man here, supposed to be the defensive end, only he goes for the dive man. That is the linebacker's responsibility. Therefore, nobody on the quarterback. Boom. Then she picks up the first down.
24-yard pickup for Fanoy Moana. They try to trip Manu Maliuna. Not many people have been successful doing that. And just as I say that, Junior Wong trips up Manu Maliuna, but not before he gets into Crusader territory at about the 49.
Well, they're going to be short of a first down by about half a football. They might even try to measure it. But again, misdirection, counterplay, and that option will do that. You're going to option right, come back with the counter. You're going to pick up 9-10 yards every time. And St. Louis better find a way to contain the option. Otherwise, they're going to be 14-7 real quick.
You see Fanoy Moana in that last shot telling his offensive charges, keep it cool. We're moving the ball. You know, just everybody do their job, and here comes the measuring sticks.
I think one of the adjustments St. Louis will probably make either now or maybe at halftime is what they're going to have to do is go to that Iolani defensive package where it's a hit and read as opposed to attacking. Kahuku really not a threat to throw the ball. They are a threat to run, and with the option the way it is, I would hit and read, and I think that's one of the adjustments that you'll see the defense make.
So Kahuku first down. And interestingly, Bill bringing up, of course, the Iolani package. Of course, those of you know about the storied legends of Father Bray and the connection between Iolani and Kahuku. And in fact, the team named Red Raiders initially after Father Bray and his Iolani program. 1st and 10, ball at the 46 of the Crusaders. Manu Maliuna powering his way up the middle, pick up about 2, maybe 3 on the play into Crusader territory at about the 43.
I've seen the playbook of Kahuku. What they call that play right there is the honest play. That's to keep the defense honest so they can't start sneaking everybody on the outside. They've got to protect the middle, keep the linebackers pinched in there a little bit, and to keep the little running back a little happy because he's doing most of the blocking. But you'll see the option right here, Al.
Nawahine and Latuselu in the backfield now. Here comes Latuselu trying to sail around the end. The Crusaders come up and dog him and take him down.
And I'm confused. I'm sitting up here watching the option, left, option right, counter left, counter right, and it's very effective. And then he come back with just a simple draw, simple power play, and it gets nothing. You put yourself in a hole. I'm confused. If they can't stop it, why keep away from it? You see right here, this is just a straight power dive off tackle. He's following his lead blocker up there, and again, he can't get outside, and I'm confused.
Unolatu along with Kanoa Noguchi coming in there to make the stop. On 3rd down and long, the pass complete. Out to the tight end, William Sau.
Well, Sal does a good job. He's big at 6'3". I mean, all he's got to do is throw it up high. It's a dunk. And the defensive backs for St. Louis, you know, they average height is like 5'7", so that's a good play. He throws it up there, and it's a good pass. He's got time to throw. In fact, he even pulls the ball back a little bit. A little soft on the coverage for the defensive secondary for St. Louis.
13 yards on the completion to the St. Louis 33. 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders. And the fake by Fanoy Moana, and he gets taken down. Joseph Ciofele, the All-Stater, coming up to make the stop.
Well, and this just tells you how great an athlete Joe Ciofele is. He is responsible for the quarterback on option. But you're going to see on the replay, if it comes up here, and we will, you're going to see him go for the dive man initially. Here he is right there, and then you see him come up right there. Because of his athleticism, he's able to come up and make the stop. That's not his responsibility, the dive man. It is the quarterback. So Joe made a mistake, but you know what? The great athlete that he is comes back and makes restitution, makes the stop.
Loss of 1 on the play. Ball back to the 33-yard line. And Fiotoa bursting ahead. Manages to get down around the 25-yard line.
Like a schoolyard hopscotch there. He went down, picked up his chalk, and kept going.
This young man has been known to wanting to hopscotch his way through defenses.
Well, he did it here, and again, he's got a nice hole right there, and actually, it looks like he stopped initially. But excuse me, and again, actually, he falls down himself without much trouble. Otherwise, there was nobody there to stop him.
So that brings up 3rd down 2, ball at the 25. Action being held up momentarily to have a equipment check here on Noguchi.
Kahuku's doing a good job here. Ball control. They're running the ball. They're picking up first downs here. Big play here.
To the airwaves, Kahuku to Orlando Wong. And their big play man comes up big, picks up the first down at the 15 of the Crusaders, and Kahuku showing off their pass attack.
Well, the running game of Kahuku makes it possible for him to throw the ball here because it's 3rd and short. Everybody in the house, I'm sure, even myself, expected a run here. They didn't get it. A little taunting at the end, but officials let it go. Again, good job here. It's a slant pattern. They picked this up from the Kamehameha game because this pattern killed St. Louis in the Kamehameha game.
1st and 10 at the 15. Pickup of 10 on the play. From the I formation. Misconnection in the backfield, and Kahuku lucky to get this one back.
We'll see the number here. Number 20.
Fiatoa. Hopscotching around can sometimes also burn you.
So Fiatoa again, and he gets the Noah Campbell. He gets the Noah Campbell bounce, and it comes right back up to him. This would have been disastrous for Kahuku because they've got a nice drive here. But again, yardage get real difficult down here in the red zone.
2nd and 11, ball at the 16. Pitch out, Latuselu. And Latuselu brought down right back at the original line of scrimmage.
Well, number 24 for the Crusaders coming up to make the stop. So missed the tackle in the backfield. Otherwise, that would have been a loss. A good job just to get back to the line of scrimmage. As you see the replay right here, you're going to see Fiasio come up and miss the stop. There he is, missed the tackle right there. Otherwise, he's back at the 20. And that saved them 5 yards. And now they're in a situation where they really have to throw the ball.
Latuselu using the stiff arm on that one. Manu Maliuna and Latuselu behind Fonoi Moana. The play action fake. The flip up in the air. It's tipped and incomplete. Una Latu in the area almost had himself a pickoff.
Well, we had a movie theater right there because we had 4 different things going on at the same time. First of all, you got pressure on the quarterback. You almost had a completed pass. You almost had an intercepted pass. And then you get it knocked down in the end. Uno Latu right there is going to come up with the play. Here it is right here. Again, little misdirection, but it didn't fool anybody as St. Louis is on the blitz. He gets the ball up a little higher because you know what, Al? He's got a man open in the end zone. Actually had a guy open at the 2-yard line too. And this brings up a 4th down situation.
4th and 11 from the 15. Going to the airwaves is Fonoi Moana. Shoots it through. Incomplete. Crusader ball. Turnover on downs.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a nice looking pass. It's just a shame that nobody was there to catch it, but this kid really throws a nice ball. Look at this. He's got his receiver stopped. Number 88, the big guy, stopped, Al. Otherwise, I don't know if he was the intended receiver, but if he doesn't stop, he makes the catches. If he makes it, it's in the end zone.
Fonoi Moana 3 for 10 for 58 yards on that drive.
Now with 3 minutes, they really have to keep St. Louis's offense from moving the ball here, Al.
Fonoi Moana 3 for 10 for 58 for the game. As Damian Cole trying to run outside and a flag comes down at the end of the play. Cole might have picked up about a yard, but hold the phone. See what the penalty's all about.
Late hit, personal foul. I mean, I'm just guessing right here, but that's what it is. And you know what? You can't do this. You can't give St. Louis with 3 timeouts. You can't pick up 15-yard penalties. This is more than enough time for St. Louis, Al.
2:57 remaining. 14-0. The Crusaders.
Foul, personal foul, late hit against the defense. First down.
14-0. The Crusaders lead right now.
Here it is here. We're going to catch the replay again. Campbell with the ball. Excuse me, that's Damian Cole. And he's down. He led with the helmet. That's why they made the call. Otherwise, if he just falls on him, I don't think you get the call. But the helmet led the tackle. That's why the call here.
From the 31 of St. Louis. 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. The delayed handoff.
Cole runs into his offensive line. And that really is what slowed this play down because actually he had no place to run because he had a wall in front of him, but it was all white.
You got to like the play calling by Ron Lee. These delayed handoffs slowing down the Kahuku defense so they can't put any pressure on Chang when they do pass.
No, and again, you know, St. Louis only has like 4 running plays in their whole arsenal, you know, but they just run it to perfection here.
2 minutes and change remaining. 14-0 the Crusaders. 2nd and 8 for Chang. Loops this deep. Nobody going deep. His man pulling up at about the 45.
Well, this is a read. You know, again, most of the routes for St. Louis are all read routes anyway. They read the defense, and then they make their breaks or decisions off of that. What happened here is Chang read one thing, his receiver read the other, and that's with the yin and a yang. One yinged and the other yanged.
Arsenault, the intended receiver on the play, has been injured throughout the season, and at times has played injured.
Blade, they like to call him. That's his nickname, Blade, and Blade changed his mind on that route.
Trip sets. Chang under some pressure. Chang unloads. The pass will be well short.
Actually, he completed it about the 50-yard line. Unfortunately, it was to one of the Kahuku Redraiders coaches, or one of their players anyway. Actually, it was a nice grab.
Minute 57 remaining. Time left for Kahuku to do something as they will drop back number 12, Bryson Au, their cornerback, 5'5", 138, a sophomore, to return this.
This is what, you know, Kahuku really needs a break here, and what they need something from the special teams. Only the second time tonight, I think, that...
Oh, and they almost get it. Thornton Murray fumbles a snap, but still manages to get the kick away. But very good field position for Kahuku at the St. Louis 49 now.
Well, this makes it for an interesting half, doesn't it, Al? I mean, they still got 1:52 to go and 1 timeout. For Kahuku, they're not gonna be able to run the ball with this much time left. But what they're gonna have to do is mix this up a little bit.
22 yards net on the punt. First and 10 at the 48.
They're gonna have to air the ball up. Here's the replay coming up here, Al. As you can see, Janet Thornton Murray back there again, just gets away from him. But again, heads up, not a big rush. And you see, he was pointed towards where the ball went out of bounds.
Man in motion is Thompson as they give up the middle.
Quite frankly, I'm a little surprised that they are running the ball here. Again, you know, with this offense, they can't get in the end zone quick enough to run the ball. They're going to go to a hurry-up offense, but Tufaga comes up to make the stop, but they're going to have to air this up.
Manu Maleuna on the carry. On 2nd down and 5 from the 43. The pass unloaded to the middle. Crusader defenders all in the area. Junior Wong, the mongoose, ready to jump on that one. Almost had himself a pick.
Well, Junior Wong had enough picks in the ILH to probably make 2 teams happy. You know, their whole secondary had 36. But again, he tries for the interception. You're going to see it here on the replay. Again, he's going to roll right here. That gives him the option to run or throw. This ball's almost intercepted, but then again, it's almost completed. And that would have been a good completion for Kahuku here.
Orlando Wong split to the near side. Man in motion is Thompson to the top of your screen. Fanoi Moana guns it out, has the first down on the completion as the Kahuku player run out of bounds. And that may be an ejection on the St. Louis player riding him out there, Tirana Fiaseu. As he rolled Thompson out of bounds.
They're going to tack on 15 yards here, and this is just a big mistake right here because that's going to put them well within position with 1:16 and 1 timeout. Now it's more than enough time.
And more than that, they may lose Fiaseu because that's usually the kind of play where you eject the player. And this will give Kahuku good field position at the Crusaders 17, 1st and 10.
Dead ball fall, personal foul, late hit against the defense, first down.
More importantly, as we get a chance to see the replay here, more importantly, it's going to give the Big M momentum back to Kahuku. Here it is right here. It was the push at the end. He doesn't push him at the end, they don't make that penalty.
1st and 10, ball at the 18. Fanoi Moana setting up the screen. Manu Maleuna taken down by Tirana Fiaseu, who made that play just a while ago.
Well, and they got to hurry because, you know, clock is running still.
About 1:01 remaining to the end of the half. Inside of a minute now. Clock's running.
Kahuku can ill afford to go back into a huddle. They're going to have to burn their time out here.
They'll have to use their last one of the half with 51 seconds remaining.
Well, it's important that Kahuku gets points on the board here. I mean, even if they have to try for the field goal, you know, if they get in close, but they're going to have to do something. 14-0. They've got to get some points on. You don't want to get this close twice and come up empty both times. That is a 30. We're looking at probably a 38-yard field goal from here. Probably not within the range, but it's going to be interesting here to see what happens. When you burn your time out there, you really don't have an opportunity to kill the clock unless you waste a play, Al.
45 yards in penalties charged against St. Louis to just 25 for Kahuku.
St. Louis is averaging about 85, 90 yards of penalties in a game, so that's something they've factored into their game plan, I'm sure, Al. Not that they like to, but it's like when you make a budget, you know, the miscellaneous. And I think this falls under miscellaneous. It's something that St. Louis doesn't like, but they budget for it, I'm sure.
Key drive for Kahuku here to reset the situation for you. 2nd down, 13, ball at the 21 of St. Louis for Kahuku. 51 seconds remaining, 14-0. The Crusaders lead. Back goes for Moana with a man downfield. The dive for the catch, nothing doing.
But you know what? I like it. I gave him a 10 on the effort because he laid himself out. If he doesn't have carpet burns on his elbows by now, I tell you what, he'll never get him because he laid himself out for his team on that one, and he still almost comes up with the catch. I thought the ball was overthrown myself, but watch it at the end here. He's got him right there, number 3.
Thomas Thompson.
Thomas C. Thompson, and look at that. I'll tell you what, he almost comes up with the catch that would have just probably been the POD of the first half anyway.
That brings up 3rd down, 13, ball at the 21. 45 seconds remaining. Thompson again in motion. Fanoy Moana throws it over the middle, complete to William Sal, the big tight end. Dives out across the 10 and gets out of bounds, more importantly, to stop the clock with 37 seconds remaining. But he had time. He could have actually motored his way further downfield and actually picked up the 1st down.
Lost his balance here is what happened. He jumps over the defender. Nice play here. Again, tight end dragging across the middle. St. Louis in a cover 1, which is a man-to-man coverage down here in the red zone. Only nobody picks up the tight end when he dragged across. They released him. Only nobody picked him up, and that's why they got down to, 4th down situation here. They've got to throw the ball out because if they try to run it, they're not going to be able to get up to the line of scrimmage in time.
11-yard play, 4th and 1, ball at the 9. I formation, Kahuku. The give to Manu Maleuna. Dives ahead. Picks up the 1st down by a couple. Clock stop with 30 seconds left to the half.
Well, if there's a player down, this is interesting because they're going to run 20 seconds off the clock because you got an injured player. Injured player, if he's down and you got less and you're losing, they're going to run 20 or 35 seconds off the clock. Here's the replay right here. And again, St. Louis does a good job, the interior line, of stopping him and pulling him up. And you're going to get a ruling here, as I'm sure Cal Lee is going to bring it to their attention. An injured player down, you're behind, you have no timeouts left, you're going to be penalized. I think it's 20 seconds. I'm not sure what the exact. I think it's 20 seconds they're going to run off the clock, Al. All right, maybe we can find out from one of our spotters up.
Clock holding at 30 seconds. To reset the situation for you again, 30 seconds remaining to the half. 1st and 6. Goal to go. Ball at the 6-yard line. 14-0. St. Louis leading Kahuku. Injury timeout in the meantime as the young man being attended to for the Red Raiders.
Well, just found out from the sports information director, I think that's only a pro penalty and not in high school, Al, as we see ourselves here on the screen.
Stadium Stars, high school sporting event tapes for sale. Hey, Christmas coming up, gang, and you might want to be stuck for a present, or you don't want to get stuck in all those big crowds down at the shopping centers. Hey, this is the number to call, 486-9557. Hey, if you want to keep a friend or a relative up on how the old alma mater's doing on sports events here at the stadium, hey, 486-9557. Want to get yourself a present watching this on the mainland? Area code 808-486-9557.
Big loss there. The big guy, 6'4", 300 pounds, Fanotti, and they can ill afford to lose him, Al. hopefully he's just shaken up and be able to get back into it as the clock is running.
So they're not going to take the time off. 24 seconds now. Fanoy Moana throws over the middle, touchdown. Alan Foster with the TD grab. And the Kahuku crowd, as a certain other local announcer would say, going bananas.
You gotta love it, Al. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's definitely up here in the press box. As Kahuku's gonna have to, they'll try to go for the 2 points or the 1 point, just set it up here, and again, the all-important extra point. And Kuku's been pretty good this season with the extra points, Al.
Joe Ashford, 6-foot kicker, comes in, and the extra point botched, and oh my.
That's big.
How many times have we seen this happen to the Kahuku Redraiders?
They've been here 4 times before. We've seen it 4 times before, Al, at least. And yeah, that actually really just brings back momentum back to St. Louis, because actually they hold them to 6, and that gives St. Louis really, the touchdown and the 2-point conversion St. Louis is going to, Kahuku's going to have to get for the conversion just to tie this game up. So St. Louis, again, back in the driver's seat. That penalty, that 15-yard personal foul penalty really hurt St. Louis there, because it brought Kahuku back to life. Here you go. Here's the touchdown here. Again, that slant pattern, and that's the one Kamehameha just killed St. Louis with last week, and something that Kahuku has seen on film, no doubt. The fake there didn't hold anybody, but it was enough for him to complete the pass. 20 seconds, 3 timeouts. Let's see what happens here on special teams.
So 14-6 our score. Boy, that extra point kick being muffed like that, though, got to take some of the wind out of Kahuku's sails. 20 seconds left. 14-6 now our score. St. Louis up by 8. They have Welch on one side.
And remember, St. Louis will receive the second half.
Junior Wong on the other. Low line kick will be chased down by Wong. Wong with a little bit of grease races it out ahead. 15 seconds left on the clock as he is down at his own 29. 18 yards on the return.
This will be interesting, Al. Do you take the knee? You got 3 timeouts, or do you throw it up and you try to play? I would try to get my offense, Al. If it's me out there, I'm trying to get my offense in at least in a position to kick a field goal.
Crusaders come back onto the field. Trip sets, or rather balance set, I should say. 1st and 10 from the 29. Chang back to pass. Fires it over the middle, almost picked off. Waiting for him in the middle of the field is Milo, the linebacker, 6'1", 240.
Now I see you take a knee. 10 seconds to go. They'll probably take the knee here.
Ten seconds remaining. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 29. Chang going to go back upstairs again. Unloads to Welch. Welch gets out of bounds up around the 45, 46-yard line. 3 seconds left for the Crusaders to try a Hail Mary.
Well, again, Timmy Chang can reach the end zone from here, Al.
So 3 seconds remaining. 1st and 10. Ball at the 45 of the Crusaders, and a timeout for perhaps a Hail Mary chance here for the Crusaders.
And I'm looking at the scoreboard right now, and what I saw just before they went to a commercial over the board over there is I saw 10 first downs for St. Louis and now 10 for Kahuku. So on that last drive there, they really evened up yardage-wise as far as first downs are concerned and did a good job. Kahuku, with that score, is right back into the ball game. The extra point hurts, but doesn't hurt them to the point where they're not in the game. They are in the game, and that touchdown there helped.
And, of course, the Rainbows playing here following the Prep Bowl tomorrow evening, Saturday night. Michigan versus Hawaii, 4:30. Game going to be shown on ESPN2.
Little surprise right here, Al, because Kahuku's in a cover 2 as opposed to a prevent. They're going to drop it there and now go cover 3. But this ball is going to step up.
And Chang with time, now going to be run under pressure and will be taken down on a trip to end the half.
That's all right. He didn't throw it up. just to throw it up. So he doesn't get the pass off, but that's okay. 14-6. St. Louis will take that.
So after one half of play, St. Louis leads Kahuku 14-6. I'm Al Morikami along with Bill Lewis. Hey, stay tuned. Second half action coming up.
So where do you want three for the $10,000 kick?
Well, we have both mics, one for the stadium, one for us on pay-per-view, Channel 47. We're going to have a halftime show coming up with the band in just a moment, but first, with the KSSK Hershey's $10,000 kick, Jim Gardner from KSSK.
Thank you very much, Tiny. And warming up behind me was Kevin Corona of Kaneohe. He was the big winner in this contest, and already he has won 2 tickets to the Jeep Aloha Bowl, Jeep Oahu Bowl doubleheader on Christmas Day. Also, 2 tickets to the Pro Bowl, and he's going to Super Bowl 33 in Miami, that via Continental Airlines. But he wants some spending money, so we've got a chance to give him $10,000, some Hershey's and KSSK. All he has to do is kick a 35-yard field goal. It's that simple. And Kevin, you've been practicing, right?
Not too much. Just shopping today.
Okay, well, what are you going to do with the $10,000?
Vegas or Disney World?
Okay, by the way, I'll give you $10 for those Super Bowl tickets.
Okay, let's trade.
Oh, all right. Okay, well, good luck to you, Kevin. We look forward to you making it. Just picture that ball going through the uprights, and you'll come out a winner. That's right. There was a runner-up. We'd like to congratulate Jack Digmore. He won a trip to the Hooters Hula Bowl on Maui. That will be January 24th, and that courtesy of Robert's Overnighter. All right, if we can have it relatively quiet so that Kevin can concentrate, please. Please. It's up, and oh, curse you, Isaac Newton. Kevin, it was a great try, and you won some nice prizes, and you still have that money that trip to the Super Bowl. Congratulations. How do you feel now?
Relieved.
Relieved. Okay. Well, a good try once again, and congratulations. Also, a big mahalo once again to Hershey's, Continental Airlines, Robert's Overnighter, and thank you for listening to KSSK Radio.
KSSK Radio and Hershey's congratulates Kevin Kuroda of Kaneohe.
Some of the cameras up there.
Listen to Perry and Price Monday morning when they interview the Hershey Bowl You Over Super Bowl Grand Prize winner. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at this time, for your halftime entertainment, the Kahuku High School Band.
Chris Commit and Matt Brandt, plus the Red Raider Marching Band Color Guard. The second number is I Can't Help Falling in Love, made popular by Elvis Presley, featuring trombone duet Manuel Quirantes and John Robertson. The show finishes with Fight On, featuring the Red Raider cheerleaders. Tonight we would like to dedicate our show to the marching Red Raiders graduating seniors. Shannon Oberly, Corey Fitisimanu, Jolene Kahavai, Angie Soliai, Stratford Sika, Corey Versteeg, Lionel Rama, and Gabriel Acoy. We would like to give special Treasurer Diane Ayu, Secretary, Dorothy Mahoney, Color Guard Advisor. Also thanks to retired band director Mike Payton. We give to you the Pride of the North Shore.
Good evening and welcome back to the Aloha Stadium. St. Louis 14, Kahuku 6 coming out of the locker rooms. Blaine Kawe joined alongside by Joel Pahukula. Joel, nice to have you back in the saddle coming back from Kauai for your first high school game this year. And what a dandy here between St. Louis and Kahuku.
Thanks, Blaine. Good to be back. See a great game tonight.
Uno Latu picking up the kick, returns it just a couple of yards. And St. Louis will start off on their own 30-yard line. St. Louis jumping ahead early with a 14-0 lead. Kahuku getting on the scoreboard coming out just before the end of the half.
And if Kahuku didn't put up the 6 late, I'll tell you, there'd be a lot of people worried. But since they did put up the points, I think they're right back in this game and shouldn't feel bad about it.
Chang behind center. Gives it to Noah Campbell here from the 30, and Campbell will lose a couple of yards. Kahuku's defense, not very highly spoken of as far as publicity is concerned, but they have done the job throughout the season.
And I think Kahuku's defense would love to see St. Louis run the ball wide like that. It's the passing game that Kahuku does not want to see St. Louis go to. Here's the handoff, and as the running back goes wide, and the defense does a great job of stringing out the play and bringing a lot of players to make the tackle.
Chang hit as he fires, and this pass is incomplete. He may have been looking for Gerald Welch on a down and in pattern, but the pressure too much for Chang as he lofted that ball away.
You know what happened on the play was Welch, as he was coming across the field, he ran into a linebacker incidentally. It's a good thing a flag didn't drop, but it was just an unfortunate thing for the St. Louis offense. There we see it again. Timmy Chang pressure up the middle. You don't see it, but Welch was leveled by one of the Kahuku linebackers.
I got to tell you, Joe, Fata Avegalio getting in, putting the pressure on Chang. When he hit Chang, his hand got up in the face mask. And if this was the NFL, that would have been a penalty against Avegalio for roughing the quarterback.
And not only that, that's the kind of chances or opportunities where quarterbacks hurt their arms, hurt their fingers, and we saw it a lot in the last couple of weeks in the NFL where quarterbacks would throw the ball and hit their hand on someone's helmet, and that was the same exact chance with the pressure coming right up the middle and Timmy Chang making a tough throw.
Just 41 seconds into the third quarter, timeout down on the field, St. Louis ahead 14-6.
And you see Timmy Chang with his offensive line, and in the ILA, St. Louis has got a huge offensive line. You throw in Kahuku and they turn into a little smaller offensive line, but they have done the job well tonight.
A couple of packs of mammoths just running amok on the field for both offensive lines. Chang looking deep. Has a man, he has a step. This is complete at about the 32-yard line. Making the reception for St. Louis, Kanale George. And a penalty marker down on the play. Let's see if this goes against St. Louis or Kahuku.
This could go both ways because the defensive back for Kahuku, Bryson Au, as well as the receiver, both did a little shoving and pushing off with hands. And it's going to be interesting to see who the call is on.
Against the defense, the penalty is refused. First down.
That's just a tough call because there's a lot of pushing and it could have gone both ways. We'll see it here on the replay. We'll get a good look at it. Timmy Chang just launching this one deep and a nice spire. As you can see, the receiver, Kanale George, he cannot come up with it, but what we did not see was the hand checking by both players.
39 yards on the reception, 1st and 10 from the Kahuku 32. The draw play picks up about 4 yards, handoff to Damian Cole.
I'll tell you, on that last play, a big mistake by the referees because the receiver did not catch the ball, and realistically, that is an incomplete pass, throw to penalty 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. And look where the referees spot the ball way downfield, and someone missed one.
We've got 2 penalty markers coming down way after this play ended. One penalty marker flew about 5 seconds after the play was over. About 10 seconds later, another penalty marker down around the line of scrimmage.
Oh, I think we're going to have a 12 men on the field for Kahuku. A couple of plays earlier on the timeout, we counted 13 people on the field. So Kahuku, coming out of the locker room on defense, need to get things together. If St. Louis puts one up here, that'll put the Red Raiders in a deep hole early in the third quarter.
Foul, unsportsmanlike conduct against the defense.
And on top of the illegal substitution penalty, a 15-yard penalty for a personal foul being assessed now against the Red Raiders.
You know, a lot of times if you just get close to the huddle, they count you as being in there. And that's where a lot of penalties in high school football is called.
Doug Awana, the referee, with a busy series on that last play. 2 penalties against Kahuku. That moves the ball down to about the 8-yard line. And we talked before the game about fundamentals. And for anybody to beat St. Louis, you have got to come in and play a near-perfect game to snap this 12-game prep bowl streak that they have.
Well, the key to beating St. Louis is not beating yourself. St. Louis will capitalize on your mistake on just about every time. If you can keep from beating yourself, you will at least have a chance to beat the Crusaders. And it's been like that for the last 13, 14 years.
Red Raiders need a big defensive stand here. Chang with time. Penalty marker down on the play. End zone. Touchdown, St. Louis. Anthony Arsenal with the reception, but this may all come back.
It could be a chop block or something. I think one of the receivers came back. It'll be procedure against the Crusaders.
Chang helping out the referees, even throwing the flag back to him.
He's been doing that all night, and I saw a lot of coaches get upset about it. Just get back in the huddle, get the play called, settle your team down after the penalty.
The lineman is not set for 1 second against the offense. Still first down.
50 yards in penalties now against the St. Louis Crusaders.
At this distance on the field, with the short side being on our side of the field, watch for them to go wide.
4 men split out to the far side of the field. Chang looking that way. Short pass to Welch. Welch double teamed, and he is taken down by Kahuku's Puna Vendiola. Vendiola, the smallest man on the defensive line for Kahuku, but he finds ways to get it done, and another penalty marker down on the turf.
That was thrown by the umpire, and that's normally a holding call against the offense. And there we see it, but that came very early in the play, almost at the snap of the football.
Cal Lee in his 18th year as the head coach of the St. Louis Crusaders. 201 career victories now on his record.
Holding on the offense, still first down.
We'll see the replay here. I don't know if we'll pick up the holding, but it could be right there. That's a big number 77, Shane Kajioka. This play doesn't go for much, however.
Chang loses a snap, and he does what he can with it. He'll pick up about 3 or 4 yards. That will bring up third down and about 21 to go.
That's a smart thing to do. It's probably going to be a running play to begin with, maybe even a draw, where if the play is busted, as the quarterback, you want to go where the play is designed to go because the hole should be there.
Second and 23. A little bit over 10 minutes left to go here in the third. Chang across the middle, incomplete. Looked like he was looking for Kawi Ho coming across the middle, but triple coverage there by the Red Raiders linebacking core.
You know, you might say, what is he doing throwing into triple coverage? But I think the referee who was behind the defensive line of scrimmage may have shielded at least one defensive player that Chang did not see. Therefore, at the end of the play, it looks like a terrible decision, but at the time, he looks at it and says it's a pretty good decision.
Chang back in the shotgun. Campbell the single back. He'll stay into block. Chang another short pass and hit immediately by Kahuku's Tavo Tupola was, I believe, Kawi Ho. Check that, Gerald Welch.
That's a big-time hit. A lot of guys who like defensive football love hits like that. But I'll tell you, that's where St. Louis picks up a lot of yardage on yards after the catch by receivers because guys will hit them. We'll see it here. A good solid hit. Head up, wrap them around, drive. Right there. Oh, a little stiff arm, maybe even a face mask there, but nothing called. But still good play by the defense.
St. Louis choosing not to go for the field goal. They need 23 yards, and Chang looking for it. And this is batted away by the Kahuku secondary.
great job by Daniel Mapu playing free safety almost in the center field position. It was 4th and very long, and all he had to do was read Timmy Chang, and he saw Chang go to his left. And as that ball was not gunned in there, it was kind of hung up there. That gave Mapu a lot of time to get over and make the play.
Mapu sweeps this ball away. Watch it again here.
There it is, that ball up there where it should have been gunned in. We don't see Mapu closing in, but there we go, right at the end of the play, breaking up the pass.
Throw from Chang intended for Kanali George, and Kahuku back to the ground attack with Dre Manu Maliuna.
It is just a shame for Kahuku that Talamoni has not gotten back in the game, injured on about the first or second play. I think we saw him for maybe 1 or 2 plays, and that's about it. And that's a big part of Kahuku's offense right there.
And kind of a deja vu type of flashback for Talamoni, who was injured on the second play of the OIA championship game. Quarterback keeps it. Panoy Moana gets a block upfield, and he's twisted out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
You know, that's where I think Kahuku is going to be very dangerous tonight, and if they're going to do something positive, that's where they're going to do it, coming on the perimeter of the defense, because St. Louis has been stacking 8, 9, sometimes 10 guys in the box, which would be 3-4 yards from the line of scrimmage. They have shut down everything up the middle. Here we go, the fake dive in the middle as Panoy Moana comes out on the option. He doesn't even look at his pitch man, keeps the ball all the way, keeps going, and just picks up as much yardage as he can.
Panoy Moana about 1 yard short of first down yardage as the fullback Dre Manu Maliuna is assisted off the field.
Look at his thighs, they are huge.
Manu Maliuna, originally thought to be overweight a couple of years ago. They played him at offensive line, then defensive line, put him in at fullback, and found out that was his niche. Panoy Moana keeps it again. He'll have the first down and a little bit more out to the 40.
That's almost the spread offense that UH wants to use. It's more of a triple option where he can give it to the pit dive man, which he did not. As he run down the line of scrimmage, you keep reading the offensive line. He saw the hole, cut it up, and really picked up a lot of yardage that he should not have gotten.
9-yard pickup for Panoy Moana. Clock continues to roll at about 8:10 and counting here in the third quarter. Kahuku down by 8. And this running play is stuffed here by the St. Louis Crusaders. Their linebackers converging on the running back for Kahuku.
Ikaika Kernan coming from the other side of the line of scrimmage, pulling the running back down from behind. Here we see it again. Taking the ball is Kaipo Faitoa, and you saw Kernan from the back. A lot of times the great players, you want to run at them so you can account for them, but St. Louis got so much speed, so many great players on defense, it's tough to single somebody out as the guy.
Loss of a yard on the last play, 2nd and 11, play action, and this pass incomplete, in and out of the hands of Orlando Wong. Wong, just a junior, and he is going to stay down on the turf.
That could be a Charlie horse, because the St. Louis defensive back, Junior Wong, kind of stuck his head in there. We'll see it right here. The pass is right on the money. Right there, and as you can see, it kind of hits him in the lower thigh area, and that's what has put Orlando Wong on the ground.
And Wong, an extremely exciting player here for the Kahuku Red Raiders. He is the 3rd-string quarterback, but he also returns kicks and punts. And he has returned a number of kicks and punts for touchdowns this year. He has made guys miss with just his raw athletic ability. And he comes off the turf here. Penalty marker down on the play. Play clock at 15 seconds, so it will not be delay of game. See if somebody moved along the line of scrimmage.
Dead ball fall, false start on the offense. Still 3rd down.
And that is what happened. 5-yard penalty assessed to Kahuku.
A lot of those procedure calls, I think the referee should ease up a bit, because a lot of times it's just a player sticking a toe over the line of scrimmage or into the neutral zone, and they'll throw that flag. But you got to let the guys, play and give them some time.
Five-man rush. Pinoy Moana looking deep. Has Foster and just a little bit too far. Alan Foster about 3 steps ahead of his defender, but Pinoy Moana could not find him here on the near side.
That's Pinoy Moana put that in a great place. He put it where only his receiver would catch it or nobody else. If Foster runs closer to the sidelines, he may grab that, and we'll see it. Pinoy Moana showing off his gun right down the field, and you could see it. Foster a little bit on the inside of the field, where if he's on the sidelines, he may have caught that.
Red Raiders forced to punt. Orlando Wong back in the game, gets it away. Welch watches it bounce. And St. Louis will back away from it as it takes a Kahuku roll to the 15-yard line.
That's the second time tonight Kahuku has got a very good bounce off of a punt. Now, the first one happened way back in the beginning of the game in the first quarter. And now with that good punt, actually the roll was the good part of it. And that puts St. Louis deep in their own territory.
51 yards on the punt. St. Louis gets the ball back with 7:09 left to play in the third quarter. Crusaders ahead by 8 points, 14-6.
St. Louis comes out, no huddle. They just run off from the side of the field, get into their lineup, as a lot of college teams do nowadays.
Chang with the handoff to Noah Campbell. Campbell hit on the far side by Tavo Tupola.
St. Louis going with the run, and you could see them. They fake that inside slot handoff, and that's a lot of times that is just to set things up in about 2 or 3 plays down the line and see what kind of reaction from the defense. Here we see the Campbell with the pickup. Nothing fancy, just going downfield, picking up as much yards as he can.
No back in the backfield now for the Crusaders. Welch, the man in motion, they look his way. Check that wide receiver screen setup, and Kahuku envelops the receiver. Isaac Rodriguez, nowhere to go.
And a lot of people have seen that, and they say, well, you do this to stop it, do that. Nobody, I mean, throughout the last 10 years, people have not found a way to stop it. But on that play, Kahuku did a good job of reading the play and shutting things down. There we see it. Rodriguez gets the ball, comes back in, no blocking. A lot of times St. Louis will drill guys and put them on their backs and free the receivers.
3rd and 1, Chang across the middle, and is this caught? They will say incomplete pass, the ball juggled by Anthony Arsenault. Defending on the play for Kahuku, Hiram Peters.
That's a very tough call, because we'll see it. The Arsenault's back was to us as he juggles that. We'll see it, and good call by the referees, incomplete pass.
Kahuku's defense holds. High snap to the punter, and St. Louis gets it away, and Wong drifting back, fields it at the 25-yard line. Wong going back even farther into his own territory. One stiff arm there, all kinds of penalty markers down on the field, and this may be a disastrous punt return for Kahuku. Wong fielded it at about the 25-yard line. His momentum swung him back to the 5. 2 penalty markers on the turf, and finally going down at the 10-yard line was Wong.
We'll probably see a clip, an illegal block, illegal push, but a lot of times, that we see it a lot of times when kick returners, punt returners change field or even backtrack, that's when you'll see a lot of these penalties, because the blockers are outfield and the people trying to tackle him are going downfield, and therefore you see a lot of those clipping penalties, and a lot of times it's just simple pushes.
Below the waist on the return during the run back, half the distance to the goal, first down.
A loss of 15 yards on the punt return. Add on another 5 yards from the penalty, and Kahuku back on their own 5-yard line. 5.5 minutes left to go, and Pinoy Moana with the handoff. And going nowhere there was Kaipo Fiatoa, as St. Louis had that play sniffed out.
Now, this is the time where the St. Louis defense will smell blood, and they will get all over you. And in past history, they do not let people get out of this territory, and they can shut Kahuku down. They've got a chance. Here's the handoff. Just a little sweep here, and you can see St. Louis playing that very well.
Cal Lee pacing the sidelines, and so much is made about special teams play and field position. Here's where St. Louis can take advantage. 2nd down and 8. Moana looking deep again, has a man. This is tipped in the air and intercepted by the St. Louis Crusaders.
Enoch McKeague making the interception. That's got to be about their 200th interception this year. They have picked off a lot of balls, but that was just great positioning by McKeague because he was inside. The ball's underthrown just a bit. If Fanoi Moana puts a little more air under this, he may have gotten himself a completion, but it's underthrown. We'll see it. McKeague with good inside position, just a tip drill to himself. Good concentration as he comes up with the INT.
The 37th interception this year for the St. Louis Crusaders gives them field position at the Kahuku 37. 4:49 left to play in the 3rd. Chang has a man wide open. That's Gerald Welch, and he is overthrown.
That is the 2nd time a St. Louis receiver has been so wide open, nobody within 15 yards of him. And for some reason, it seemed as if the Kahuku zone was shifted to Welch's side of the field. I don't understand how they can lose track of him. One of the most dangerous players in the state. We'll see it here. Timmy Chang there, look at it. Welch not even closely guarded. If Welch can get Chang gets him the ball, it's 6.
Chang fires it incomplete. And there's a late penalty marker coming down on the play. The pass intended for Gerald Welch.
And
Welch being bumped by one of the linebackers, and the late penalty coming in.
That's Pati Milo who almost took Welch's head off. As we see the pass interference, Welch coming across the field as Timmy Chang was looking for him. And as he got to about the right hash mark, he just was hit very hard and thrown off of his route. And that'll give St. Louis a big 1st down.
Pass interference on the defense, automatic 1st down.
1st down Crusaders after the penalty. St. Louis still holding on to an 8-point advantage in the Prep Bowl. Chang down deep, fires, has a man, and this is nearly picked off. Daniel Mapu once again cleaning up on the play and nearly taking that ball away from St. Louis.
You know, Timmy Chang did not do a good job of looking off the free safety. He stared down his receiver, Gerald Ho, all the way from the snap of the ball. If he looks off to his receivers in the middle or even in the right, Ho is wide open. We'll see it here. There we see it. Timmy Chang just looking to his left all the way, just heaves it out there. Ho is well covered by a couple of Red Raiders, and Mapu making the play.
2nd and 10. They fake the handoff. Penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage, and being taken out of bounds rather rudely there was Gerald Welch. He skidded about 7 yards on his way out of bounds past Kahuku's cheerleaders.
Once again, that hanky coming from the umpire, and we normally see holding. And there we go. And that came very early. That play didn't even have a chance from the very beginning. Everybody knew it was going to get called back. But despite the holding call, good execution by the St. Louis offense. You know, that play may have gone for very little, but what that does, you throw those short passes like that coming across the field to Welch, a lot of times you'll fake that and people will be wide open in the back of the end zone, and a lot of that is just to set up stuff later on.
On the offense, still 2nd down.
Here's the replay again. We should see it in the middle of the line. Right there we go. We'll see it. Number 68 for Kahuku was held just a little, not very much, but enough to draw the penalty.
It remains 2nd down. St. Louis needs to get to the 13-yard line for 1st down yardage. That's 22 yards to go. Chang, little swing pass, and this will lose yardage. Kawi Ho sitting out there in the flat will lose 5 or 6 yards after that outstanding defensive play by Loa Marasco.
That ball is thrown a little high. Sometimes receivers will think, you know, what should I do? Let it go. And I think St. Louis would have been better off just letting that go into the sidelines. It was on the replay. Timmy Chang looks right and very close to being a lateral by about a yard. And making a good grab is Loa Marasco with a nice tackle.
3rd and 26 now for the Crusaders. Chang under some pressure. Has a man downfield and too far. Once again looking for Gerald Welch. Check that was Anthony Arsenal here on the near side.
You know, I don't think Arsenal expected to be the intended receiver because somewhere about the 15-yard line, he kind of slowed up a bit by a couple of steps, and he was just a couple of steps from making the catch and the touchdown. Timmy Chang once again looking left all the way, just heaving out there, showing off his arm. And as we see it, Arsenal a couple of yards short from making the grab.
Thornton Murray back to punt it away for St. Louis. And this ball takes a Kahuku hop into the end zone for a touchback. The Red Raiders get the ball back with 3:32 left to go in the third quarter, starting off their own 20-yard line following the punt from Thornton Murray. Timmy Chang on the evening now. He is 10 of 24 passing for 166 yards and 1 touchdown.
You know, Kahuku should consider themselves very fortunate. They dodged a couple of big-time bullets in the first half, and here in the third quarter, where St. Louis could have stuck one in there, and the defense held.
Kahuku's defense doing a good job of stifling St. Louis following the turnover. Manu Maliuna bowling his way out for a couple of yards. And nothing fancy about the way that Manu Maliuna runs. When he gets the ball, you know he's only going one direction.
You know, he's not a very tall guy, and a lot of times coaches will tell you big running backs get him down low. I mean, he's such a short guy that's, you know, he already is low. Tough to get him lower.
2nd and 7. Give up the middle once again. That looked like Manu Maliuna. He'll pick up about 2 more.
And it's been tough all night long for Kahuku trying to run it between the tackles. St. Louis packing a lot of people in the box 3-4 yards from the line of scrimmage. Kahuku has had success throwing the football and success coming out wide on the option play.
Manu Maliuna with 28 yards on 11 carries, well below his average against the St. Louis defense that will do that to just about every running back they go up against. A late pitch, and they will say Fonoy Moana was down, and maybe luckily for Kahuku.
You know, a couple of things. Fonoy Moana and Kahuku very lucky his knee touched the ground because he made a terrible decision deciding to make the pitch because a St. Louis Crusader shot the gap, got in there early, and tripped up Fonoy Moana right there. Looks like that is number 92, William Mau, and just a very dangerous play by Fonoy Moana. That deep in your own territory, you need to think twice about plays like that.
And that is what the coaching staff for Kahuku telling Fonoy Moana now on the sidelines as they are forced to punt the ball away once again. Here comes the block, and this is stuffed by the Crusaders. St. Louis falls on in the end zone. This is a Crusader touchdown.
That's Junior Wong, number 5, with the block. He was all over that punt, did a good job, and then from there it's just the St. Louis coverage team just getting in there. And he did exactly what coaches teach you. Do not go after the ball. Go to where the ball is going to be kicked. And he just smothered that. Really, he may have gotten that before the ball was even kicked.
Junior Wong got in there nearly unabated. And Wong being congratulated by his teammates as Mark Lau sets up for the extra point conversion. And that kick is up and good, and St. Louis now ahead 21-6.
Not too sure who made the recovery in the end zone, but as we look, that is Junior Wong, who is getting a lot of congratulations. Took a few shots as well, but he did a good job getting in. And the pressure didn't even come from the corner. It came right up the middle, and he was just all over that kick.
Everybody from St. Louis's special teams being congratulated for a play well done.
There we see the pressure coming up there, and Wong is all over it. As we see the St. Louis coverage team just looking for that ball. It's like a shark's looking for somebody bleeding in the surf. There we go. No doubt about it that a Crusader was going to come up with it in the end zone. Making the grab, number 50, that's Javostin Murray Thornton. And we look at it again, up the middle, a great block. And that is why St. Louis has been good for so long, is special teams play.
Little squib kick here. Kahuku needs to pick this ball up, and they do at the 33-yard line. Red Raiders, well coached special teams wise. We've seen some ILH teams watch that squib kick just bounce through and everybody backs away from it. St. Louis comes downfield and picks it up, and they have the ball back once again.
In fact, last week against Kamehameha, it was a big turning point for St. Louis where they recovered a kick that Kamehameha's line said, let it go, and they came up with it.
Puna Vendiolo with the heads-up play for the Red Raiders. Back on their own 28-yard line, now trailing by 15. Play action, Fonoy Moana just a little bit too high of his intended target. Tight end William Sao.
I think Kahuku really wants to run the ball, but they feel they have to throw the ball. It's only 21-6 in the third quarter. They should not be panicking. And I think going over the middle to their big tight end, William Sao, is a good way to soften up the middle and open up their running game between the tackles.
Minute 28 left to go in the third quarter. Moana deep once again for Foster. Foster bumping with his man downfield. No penalty markers.
You called it, Blaine. It's very close to being a penalty because Foster just kind of pushed the defender, Tirana Fiasu, out of bounds. Some tackling going up here in the press box. Here's a replay. A good deep throw by Fonoy Moana. And right there, we can see a lot of the hand checking. And there's Foster, just kind of pushes the defender out of the way. In fact, defending on the play, Enoch McKeague, who made the interception that gave St. Louis a chance.
Fonoy Moana 7 of 20 passing for 96 yards, 1 interception on the night so far. Back to pass once again, and this is in and out of the hands of the tight end, William Sal once again. And Sal, the favorite target so far, Fonoy Moana here this evening. And they look to use his size downfield. Penalty marker down at about the 25. And this will go against Kahuku.
That's one of the few guys that Kahuku has.
We have an illegal
will get the
shift
penalty.
on the offense. The penalty is refused. 4th down.
The tight end, William Sauer, is one of the few weapons Kahuku has that can go over the middle of the field and not be intimidated by any of the St. Louis linebackers or defensive backs.
St. Louis declining the penalty, forcing 4th down, and Orlando Wong and the punt squad back on the field for the Red Raiders. Welch back deep, just behind the 40-yard line at about the 38 of St. Louis to receive. And this is a beauty of a kick. Welch muffs the punt. Kahuku picks it up at the 25-yard line.
Gerald Welch should know better. As when you're backing up as a punt returner, if you're backing up on the play, in fact, he had to kind of turn around with his back towards the line of scrimmage. You need to let that go because it's going to be a tough catch. We see it. Look, his back is almost facing the camera in the end zone, and he just had a tough time making a grab. And the Kahuku Gunners right there to make the fumble recovery.
Leonard Peters hustling downfield to make the play. Peters, a 6-foot, 140-pound junior defensive back with the recovery. 1st down, Kahuku. Their offense now with new life, and barreling right up the middle is Dre Manumaleuna.
A couple of plays ago, St. Louis was about ready to put that final nail in the coffin, but a big turnover by Gerald Welch has given Kahuku a lot of life. That's one of the few positive plays they've had going up the middle against a solid Crusader defense. Here we go, the dive play off tackle, wide open hole. Quickness of the St. Louis linebackers closes it in a hurry.
Give to Manu Maliuna once again. He is hit initially by Alex Oliveira. And the rest of the Crusaders stampede around Manu Maliuna to make the tackle after a gain of about 3 or 4 for Dre Manu Maliuna.
And if Kahuku's going to win this game, they need to get points out of this drive, whether it's 3, 6, or 7. They need something because if they let things get out of hand early, St. Louis they've got killer instinct and they know how to put people away.
Kahuku will try to get one more play off before the quarter ends. Clock down to 5 seconds. Handoff to Manu Maliuna once again, and this time he is stuffed for a loss of a yard on 3rd and 4. And that will bring us to the end of the third quarter. It'll be 4th down and about 5 yards to go for first down yardage from about the 20-yard line. Is this 4-down territory?
I don't think so. I think Kahuku should not panic. Here we go. We'll see that play that went for just about nothing. St. Louis defense just shutting this down. As we see the gang white just piling on Manu Maleuna. But getting back to your question, I don't think it's 4-down territory. Kahuku has somebody that can make field goals, and it's early in the 4th quarter. They do not need to panic. They just need to put some kind of points on the scoreboard, get the momentum back on their side of the field.
And the Red Raider defense has done a good job so far here in the second half, holding the St. Louis offense in check.
You know, in past years, in fact, the past couple of prep bowls that these two teams have faced each other, it's been, you know, Kahuku's running game that has, you know, powered their machine down the field, punch it into the end zone. But this year, they've got a team that can score from just about anywhere on the field. They should not panic. Just stick with their game plan because there is a lot of time to come back.
Some late substitutions now for the Red Raiders. They will go for it. Nawahine and Latuselo do 2 backs, no receivers. Play action. Looking for Sal downfield. He is in double coverage. Fonaiwan lost it into the air. Touchdown, Kahuku! Oh my gosh, what a play!
Oh, what a play. The big tight end, William Sal, picking up the deflection. And a Crusader defensive back should have got there. There's a penalty flag on the play, and it looks like this may come back. But I'll tell you, I think Kahuku wanted to throw a screen in the middle of the field, and the defensive linemen and linebackers kind of shut that down and actually pushed around the intended receiver. Fanoi Moana doing a great job of keeping his eyes open, looking downfield, and throwing the ball into the end zone.
What a tragic turn of events now for the Red Raiders. A penalty, a clip, negating a 22-yard touchdown strike to William Sal. And not only that, it takes them out of field goal range as well.
We'll look at the catch again. That's Latu that could have had that. And Sal just picking up the garbage. That should have been an interception. That's a huge penalty because it's a spot foul. It's not from the line of scrimmage. It is from where the penalty was committed. And Kahuku with about 20 guys on the field, and finally the penalty flag.
We had Kahuku, man, running off the field, running into each other while they were trying to make the substitution.
Keystone Cops.
On the offense.
And they will signal for a false start penalty against Kahuku. You saw that. He figured something was wrong. 80 yards in penalties now for the Red Raiders.
And Kahuku took themselves out of a golden opportunity to put points on the scoreboard.
Shift being put on here by Kahuku. Another penalty marker down on the play as this short punt takes a hop and looks to be downed at about the 21-yard line. See if it touched the St. Louis player. That is what Kahuku is lobbying for.
I think it hit a Red Raider first, somewhere about the 28, 29-yard line. And I think the referees are going to make a good spot on this one.
The illegal shift against Kahuku is a penalty. They will spot the ball at the 30-yard line, see if St. Louis opts to take it.
I think St. Louis should take the football.
Have an illegal shift against the kicking team. The penalty is refused. First down.
Leonard Peters downfield once again for Kahuku, the same man that recovered the muffed punt on the previous possession.
You know, what St. Louis has done in the past when they've got a team reeling, how they could have scored, backed themselves out of a score, a lot of times they'll go for the home run right here on the first play.
And this could be where Kahuku's defense needs to make yet another stand in this ball game. Looking for some room was Noah Campbell. And as they say on SportsCenter, no soup for you on that last play.
But Kahuku's defense, they've done a pretty good job. Outside of just a couple of plays, they've done a pretty good job tonight in shutting down the running game. And this play is no different. Here we go. Noah Campbell trying to find running room. No place to go as he is just stacked and dropped.
A little bit over 11 minutes left to go. A quick toss back here. This is Damian Cole. Cole wrestled to the turf at the 35-yard line after a 3-yard gain.
You know, up 21-6, I get a feeling that Cowley is going to ice this thing run the football 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust. And I think at 21-6, he may not feel safe, but I think he feels kind of comfortable where he can run the ball and eat the clock.
The Red Raiders defense doing a stellar job against the CNC rushing factory of Campbell and Cole, combined just 43 yards between the two. This is Cole once again. And Cole stuffed on third down. Gain of maybe 1 yard. Chris Kemoeatu leading the way for Kahuku.
And like I said, I think Cal Lee thinks he wants to, as they say, bust the clock right here by running the ball 3 straight downs. I don't think I've seen that in a long time, especially the explosive passing game that St. Louis possesses.
They take about 1.5 minutes off the clock. Kahuku trying to block the punt, and this is a beauty. Long from the 16. This kid is dangerous, but not when 7 Crusaders are bearing around you. No blocking as everybody was headed in to try to block the punt.
And a lot of times when punters hit a big one like Murray just did, you outkick your coverage and you have return guys who break big ones. We'll see it here, but it's just the speed of St. Louis's cover team as well as the height and distance of the punt that allowed the white shirts to get down there and keep that return from being a big one.
5-yard return there for Orlando Wong after that 52-yard boot. Moana with the ball, and there you see him dragged down as St. Louis stifles that last play.
Fonoy Moana took a lot of abuse there. He got his shirt practically ripped off. He got slapped in the head a couple of times. Probably called a few bad names as well. Then got shoved down to the grass, or actually the fake grass. Here we go. They come out on an option play. They fake the dive. Fonoy Moana comes out. There we go, grabbing him. Is Alex Oliveira, spins him, slaps him a few times, and says, "Not in my yard."
Play action. This is Wong. Wong gets the block upfield, and he is off to the races. Orlando Wong out racing the St. Louis secondary. He is down in St. Louis territory at the 35-yard line. Una Latu eventually catching up to Wong, but not before that huge play. 43 yards on the run by junior Orlando Wong.
A couple of things why that was a big play. St. Louis missed a tackle, which should have kept that to about a 10-yard gain. We missed it a bit, but right here, another tackle as Wong uses his speed to split the defenders. And if it wasn't for the overall team speed of the St. Louis defense, this should have been 6.
Left tackle Kendall Boutel got upfield and made a terrific block. This is caught by Foster, and now they will say incomplete as the ball tumbles down towards the end zone.
And if this was the NFL, John Madden would say, "Well, let's take another look at it. He may have had possession as his feet hit the ground." But he took a step, maybe even 2 steps, and we were shielded from the play, but a replay would show if he had possession of the football. That was very close to being a completion.
Foster, the intended target, and he has been open on a number of plays here this evening against the St. Louis secondary. Moana back to pass once again, intended for Wong, tipped up into the air, and is this intercepted? No, it's not. Boy, the Crusaders going after that one.
Oh, St. Louis all over that. And I'm sure the Kahuku bench was yelling, "Get down, get down, get down." But that ball just could not stay up long enough for St. Louis. Here's the replay. The defensive back and the ball getting at the receiver at the same time. And as we look at it, for St. Louis, that's So Tufaga making a great attempt at the interception.
Enoch McKeague on coverage, tipping the ball up in the air initially. Funai Moana 0 for his last 8 with an interception. In his defense, he's had a couple of passes dropped. Pump fakes here, fires for Thomas Thompson, and Thompson turned the wrong way.
You know, Kahuku, when they have gone to the pass, they've had a lot of success going with the quick stuff, slants, even short passes to the tight end. And a lot of times they get themselves in trouble going deep on like 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and put themselves in a hole on 4th down. Here we go, Funoi Moana. I think he went outside, the receiver cut inside, and by that time, it was too late and nobody could make the adjustment back to the football.
Timeout Kahuku. Junior Wong on coverage on the last play. 8 minutes, 22 seconds remaining in this ball game. So St. Louis with a 2-possession lead. 21-6 is the score here at the Aloha Stadium. Blaine Kawe joined alongside by Joel Pahukula. And Joel, Kahuku, when they have gone to the air, they have had open receivers downfield. They have just not been able to connect.
You know, a lot of times in the OIAs, Kahuku's just got superior athletes, and they can just flat out beat guys over the middle of the field, down the sideline, and complete these big bombs. Not very many OIA teams have team speed like St. Louis has got.
We'll take a break here. Once again, the score 21-6 at the Aloha Stadium.
Oh, it's on a roll.
Two teams back out on the field. 8:22 left to play here in the 26th annual Prep Bowl. It is 4th and 10 for Kahuku. They set up in the I formation. Blitz is on. Fanoy Moana gets away and another heave downfield looking for Foster. Foster can't find it. In and out of his hands in the end zone.
Oh, Foster did a good job making adjustments to the ball. He looked inside, didn't see the ball. He looked outside, still didn't see the ball. Looked back inside, finally picked it up and said, oh, this thing is on my outside shoulder. Made a great adjustment back to the football and just could not make the grab. Looked up into the lights. That probably distracted him. Here's the throw by Fanoy Moana, just heaved it as far as he can. That ball is thrown on the outside of Foster as he looked inside, and you can see it, just not enough time for him to make the grab.
Foster with the tremendous effort. There you see Noah Campbell getting tripped up after a gain of about 3, but Foster on that last play doing things my G.I. Joe doll couldn't do when I was in elementary, turning his hips to the left, back to the right, just trying to find the football and just unfortunately in and out of his hands.
You know, earlier today, Texas A&M, Texas, same type of game where St. Louis kind of dominated, and Kahuku just hanging around in there. And that was their opportunity to get back into this football game.
And when you think about it, Sal getting that one ball in the end zone, Foster missing that one. That's 2 touchdowns right there. They could actually be leading this ball game down 21-6 right now. And a man wide open across the middle. He is off to the races. Touchdown, St. Louis.
Oh, what a gorgeous play by a gorgeous route run by George Welch, and a great pass by Timmy Chang, splits everybody, and Welch fakes as if he's going straight up the middle, cuts it in at somewhere about the 40-yard line, and he turns back to Timmy Chang, and that ball is right on the money, right in the middle of his chest.
And you talk about the killer instinct of the St. Louis Crusaders. That may have been it right there, a 62-yard touchdown pass from Timmy Chang to Gerald Welch. Welch gets a breather as the holder here. Lau puts it through the uprights. And that extends the St. Louis lead now to 28-6. Sevens all the way across the board for St. Louis.
You know, one thing great about Timmy Chang is he throws a very nice ball. He throws a nice spiral. He doesn't overthrow, doesn't underthrow, and that ball is nice and soft. And if you've got good soft hands, you will make the catch. Here we go to play action. Timmy Chang drops back, looks down the middle, sees, hey, I got my man open down the middle of the field. There we go. Look, nice spiral, nice and soft, in stride. All Welch has to do is catch the football because Timmy Chang throws a very accurate ball where, you know, he's not going to hang any of his receivers out to dry in the middle of the football field. And good blocking downfield helps Welch get into the end zone. There we go, a little showboat action. But, hey, St. Louis has deserved it. They've played a very good game tonight.
Gerald Welch, 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown on the evening. Timmy Chang, 11 of 25 for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nearly half of Chang's passing yards going to that Gerald Welch connection. The 2 juniors hooking it up once again in the Prep Bowl. Same thing last year. Welch, the player of the game, and he is headed on that same route this year. Red Raiders watch the ball go out of bounds. They'll get it back at the 35-yard line with just a little under 7.5 to play.
You know, I think that ball was touched by one of the Kahuku defenders. Goes out of bounds. Referee throws the penalty flag in. I'm not so sure about that. But St. Louis has gone to that squib kick type of kickoff and has been pretty effective.
The ball will be placed at the 35, first down.
There we go, Cal Lee. You can't tell if he's up or down. He's always middle of the road, not sure getting too high or too low. Except last week, I saw him go off on the referees.
Panoy Moana, just a short pass here. Red Raiders may need a little bit more of this to open up that deep passing game that they've been trying to go to. Foster holds on to this one, shakes his head as he kind of probably wishes he did that on the previous pass.
At 21-6, there should be no panic by Kahuku, but at 28-6, there should be panic with just over 7 minutes to go.
Now, Panoy Moana's father was an offensive tackle for Kahuku back in 1972. They were playing in the OIA championship game. They came back to score 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter as this pass is dropped by Sal. A little bit low for the tight end. But Panoy Moana's father back in 72, their team scored 3 fourth quarter touchdowns to defeat Lelehua 35-29 for the OIA championship 1 year before the inception of the Prep Bowl.
As we look at the replay, this is a pass as Sal, not a very good thrown football, but it's a pass he should have caught a little bit behind of him where he had to slow up to make the catch and should have gotten that one.
Wayne Panoy Moana Jr.'s team looking for 3 touchdowns here. Taken out of bounds is Foster. Stops the clock at 6:41 on 3rd down, so that'll be first down there for Kahuku, and a critical one at that.
And I think Kahuku's a pretty good passing football team, except when they need to pass. Just about any team is not a good passing team when you need to pass, but Kahuku, I think when they absolutely have to pass, gets a little uncomfortable for them.
This time it's Wong on the far side. He'll get about 4 yards on 1st and 10 from the 48.
On plays like that, the St. Louis defensive backs need to keep the receiver in bounds and keep the clock going, because if they hold the receiver in, and that's another 20, maybe even 30 seconds off the clock, which I'm sure Coach Lee is like, come on, the clock is not moving fast enough. Here's the pass, a short flare out to the receiver, Wong, and there we see the St. Louis guys trying to ride him out of bounds, but no, they need to keep him in the field of play.
Blitz is on. Sealfele gets a hold of Panoy Moana, and he is sacked back at the Kahuku 47.
Oh, it looked like a big bear going after somebody. Some little cat or something. He could see those big arms just stretch out and grab Panoy Moana from behind. And Panoy Moana will outrun most linebackers, but not Joseph Sealfele. There we go. We see it again, the grab from behind. And Sealfele will run just about any quarterback down from behind on this level as well as the next level.
Loss of 8 yards on the sack. Interesting watching Panoy Moana. He could sense Sealfele coming in from behind, although he didn't see him. Blitz on once again by the Crusaders. Panoy Moana, beautiful pass downfield, and this is caught at about the 42-yard line. That looks like Foster, and Foster may be injured on the play. Kaika Kernan on the tackle.
We look again for Panoy Moana doing a good job rolling out, throwing across of his body back towards the middle of the football field. And Foster just on the ground taking a shot.
The injury stops the clock at 5:36 in the fourth quarter. 22-point differential here in this ball game. And don't forget, the Stadium Stars high school event tapes are for sale. Give us a call at 486-9557. We have tapes of all the high school games that are played here at the Aloha Stadium. And a good chance for young sportscasters like Joel and myself to get some experience.
And this is a tape of a game you'd want to keep. I think this is the first time in history we may have 2 ranked teams after a state championship.
That's right, the first time in history 2 nationally ranked teams vying for the Oahu title. OIA champion Kahuku, ILH champion St. Louis here at the stadium. And this pass is caught downfield. Kaipo Fiatoa coming out of the backfield to make the grab.
That's a great catch. I mean, he's got a linebacker all over him. Fonoy Moana throwing it nice and low and gunning it in there. There we see it, just a good catch, and all over him is Ikaika Kernan.
First down, Kahuku, their 13th of the evening. Moana finds William Sal. Sal barrels over one defender, and he is brought down by the second. Looked like Kernan once again coming in to make the tackle.
You know, these are the kind of drives that St. Louis is saying, yes, yes, you know, so what if they pick up 10 here, 8 here, 5 here? It's the length of the drive. That is eating the clock. Here we go, Fonoy Moana once again coming out. He's not even looking at anybody else, strictly looking at his tight end, Sal. Makes a great grab, gets upfield, and will be short of a first down. But if these long drives keep up and you don't get any points out of it, you're playing right into St. Louis' hands because they want you to make the long drives.
One of the offensive linemen down on the field for Kahuku. How often is it that you see an offensive line with all 5 of the linemen being recruited by Division I colleges?
I mean, that's a spooky thought. I'm sure both of those teams would love to have a few of these Kahuku as well as St. Louis guys, especially the team on the bottom there. I mean, they could use Murray. He's done a good job punting. You could use some of the offensive linemen, the linebackers. Oh, my goodness.
Lau's been able to kick those extra points. That's been important for, UH. Unfortunately, this year they haven't been able to do that. It'll be interesting to see the attendance numbers between tonight's Prep Bowl game and tomorrow's game between the University of Hawaii and Michigan. This Prep Bowl matchup, somewhat of a dream matchup at the beginning of the year, and it has come to fruition here. And what a game we've had, 28-6 between St. Louis and Kahuku, but Kahuku has definitely had their chances here.
That's what adds to the prestige of a game like this, is that everybody wanted these two teams, everybody knew these two teams would be here, and it actually happens.
Fonoy Moana downfield finds Foster, and he will go out of bounds at the 12-yard line. You talk about the anticipation before this matchup. I think that will show in the gate receipts later on tonight when the attendance figures are announced.
This may be the biggest crowd of the year outside of the Pro Bowl. No. But a good job of catching a football by Alan Foster. He goes downfield, drives the defensive back off, then works back towards the receiver. I mean, the quarterback. There we go, making the grab, spinning for the sideline to save time on the clock.
Wong split out to the far side. Foster on the near side. Handoff to Dre Manu Maliuna, and he'll pick up about 4 yards before he's taken down by Tirana Fiaseu.
You know, Kahuku's doing a good job moving the football, but what they need to do is take some shots at the end zone, because this 3-4 yard stuff is exactly what St. Louis wants to see. Because these long 4 or 5 minute drives is just eating the clock. You get only 6 points, only 7 points out of this is definitely not to your advantage.
Red Raiders trailing by 3 possessions could use a quick strike, as you mentioned, Joel. They're looking for it here. This pass is complete. Touchdown, Thomas Thompson.
Good job by Thomas Thompson. He shielded the St. Louis Crusader defensive back away from the football, and where only he could get it, and Fonoy Moana gunned it in there and hit him right in the number, and an easy catch. All you have to do is hang on to the football, as Kahuku will go for 2.
The Red Raiders trailing by 22 points. They would need the 2-point conversion sometime. They will go for it here. Siwaki Levi watching from the near side. They line up on the near hash mark. Thompson in motion. Fonoy Moana into the end zone. He is leveled as he throws and batted away nicely by St. Louis's secondary.
I think St. Louis kind of knew what was coming. I knew what was going to come because of the way the formation was set up. You go to the near hash mark, like you said, Blaine, and it was simple. Roll out, look for receivers to be open, coming back across the field. And St. Louis read that perfectly. Therefore, Fonoy Moana just had to throw it up, and hopefully one of his guys came down with it. There we go. This is the touchdown. There we go. Thompson shooting the Crusader defensive back away from the football. It's just good fundamental football right there. Here's the 2-pointer. The fake play action. short rollout. No, it's just a touchdown again. As we see it, just a great play by the receiver.
Thomas Thompson with the touchdown reception. Panoy Moana's first touchdown toss of the night. Check that second. Panoy Moana now 16 of 34 passing, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. And he is hoping he will have yet another shot at St. Louis here as they go for the onside kick.
You know, Kahuku needs to come up with some kind of turnover here. They desperately need the football back because St. Louis, as well as being a quick strike team, they can also grind it out and also put together long 3-4 minute drives.
Squib kick down the middle. This is a race. Picked up by Leighton Aliviado. Aliviado hit from behind and taken down at the 13-yard line by Leonard Peters. Peters has been the man on special teams for Kahuku this evening.
You know, that was an opportunity for Peters to really get that hand in there and knock that football out, because I don't think Aliviado knew where he was. He knew he was behind of him, but how far back, I don't think he knew. We'll see it here as he goes back to his left. Watch number 42 come from the right side of your screen. Right there, he's got a chance to really knock that football out instead of make the grab, and I think they need a turnover more than they needed that tackle right there.
His left hand got on top of the football, but not enough to pop it out of Aliviado's grasp. And wrapping and tackling there for the Kahuku Red Raiders, Fata Avegaleo.
There we saw number 77 for St. Louis, Shane Kagioka in the screen for a little bit. I stood next to him last week, and that dude is a mountain. He is a huge kid. There we see the handoff again, just going right up the middle. I think St. Louis's main goal here is to eat up a lot of this clock. A first down, maybe even 2 first downs would be exactly what Cal Lee wants out of this drive.
And the Red Raiders have used 2 timeouts already in this half. They just have 1 timeout remaining. St. Louis still has their full complement of 3 timeouts and movement.
Looks as if a timeout was taken, yes. You know, the St. Louis huddle, I mean, they took a long time breaking the huddle. They get to the line of scrimmage with about 11 seconds left on the play clock, and I don't know what happened, but they took forever to get that play off. As we see Timmy Chang, they're asking the coaches what happened.
3:13 left to go in the ball game. Cal Lee looking on. His team looking for their 13th straight Prep Bowl title. They are ahead 28-12.
You see Kahuku, they've got to be discussing one thing: turnover. As I fill out my vote for MVP. Besides you, Blaine, I don't know who to put down.
You know I can't play football. My mom always told me I was too small, but then you look at little fellas like Leighton Aliviado out there for St. Louis at 5'2", 130. And that pretty much means anybody can get out there on the football field.
Don't disclose my pick, but here it is.
Okay, we'll keep that a secret till the end of the game.
Actually, St. Louis, there's more than one MVP candidate on the field for St. Louis. I mean, the game's not over yet. It could change.
We could use that as a promotional item as well. We could say Joel Pahukula's MVP will be released in the next videotape, the BTC All-Star Classic, where you will probably see that player of the game.
Special, the Iron Man Award.
Dead ball false start on the offense. Still second down.
This penalty occurred on the left side of the St. Louis line. We'll see it. Looks like number 62 right there kind of picks up his arm, and there's the penalty.
The attendance here at the Aloha Stadium tonight, 20,959 fans coming through the turnstiles.
They got to be kidding me. I must have counted at least 25.
Now, you guessed, I think, about 31,000. My pick was about 29. It sure looked like we had that much people here in the stadium. But we don't count the tickets. And can you imagine? They count every one of those ticket stubs individually.
I think they missed the people sitting in the above the blue section. Look at that. That's a pretty good crowd. Still yet at almost 21,000. That may be one of the bigger crowds for the home team this year. not to poke fun at a school up there in Manoa, but you know.
The school that I hope to graduate from in about a year and a half. 3:02 left to go in the ball game. 3rd and 12 from the 11-yard line. St. Louis will huddle up once again on the far sideline. And just looking around the press box here, St. Louis Sports Information Director Georges Gilbert tallying the votes for player of the game.
I hope he wasn't the guy that counted the attendance. Oh, there's a couple of guys who've played well for St. Louis. I mean, Gerald Welch, of course, Timmy Chang. It's tough to say the running backs, but they did a good job getting those tough yards inside. It set up a lot of the outside stuff. The defense played well.
Talk about the linebackers, Ciofeli and Kernan.
I mean, I'm a kicker, so I'm going to throw one in for the punter. He had a couple of clutch punts here in the second half.
3:02 left to go in the ball game. Handoff once again by the Crusaders. We might have a loose ball on the turf. And there it is. Kahuku Red Raider football, and Kahuku still with a little bit of life left as they pop one loose from Noah Campbell.
Oh, that's a huge turnover. And like I said, the Texas A&M game, that's exactly what happened. Ricky Williams turned one over late in the game. A&M came back and capitalized on the mistake. But here we go. Campbell just takes a shot towards the end of this. Watch. Guys ripping in at the football. There we see it. Number 76 rips at the ball. That is Puna Vendiola who gets that ball loose, and his teammates just hunt for that football and come up for their offense.
And Leonard Peters has just been a disruptor here for Kahuku against St. Louis. He recovered the fumble. This is Fanoy Moana. Fanoy Moana looking to get out of bounds at the 60-yard line, and he does. Una Latu with the escort for Fanoy Moana.
And once again, I think Kahuku needs to take some shots at the end zone. Here's the option play that Fanoy Moana picks up a pretty good yards on it. But they're down 16 with 2:48 left. That is 2 touchdowns with both 2-pointers attached to them. They need to take some quick strikes at the end zone.
I formation once again for the Red Raiders. Now under 3 minutes to play. Red Raiders trying to get into the end zone, and they do. Touchdown. That is Kaipo Fiatoa from 5 yards out.
You know, in high school football, there's a penalty about pushing your guys or aiding your runners. And that's exactly what happened, because no way does the running back score if he does it on his own. It was a big lineman that just kind of pushed him, and I believe that was Kendall Boutel who kind of shoved the running back across the goal line.
Red Raiders have to go for 2. They now trail by 10 points. To make the 2-point conversion here, they will be down by 8 in the wishbone. Handoff, this is Fiatoa. 2-point conversion is good as he runs right through St. Louis. And this game may not be over.
That was a great call by the coaching staff for Kahuku. They faked the first back into the line of scrimmage, and the entire St. Louis defense went after that running back. And when they come with that little reverse, that slot handoff to Faitoa, he just easily gets into the end zone. Here we go. We'll see the 2-pointer. We don't see the misdirection. We see the first back go blurring by right there. An easy trip into the end zone for 2. Now here's the big question. Do we see an onside kick, or do we see a kickoff? We'll take a look at the touchdown and hopefully watch for the lineman who pushes the running back across the goal line. Here we go. Here's the handoff to Faitoa. There we see it. He's not into the end zone. That's a 5-yard line. There we go. There's the lineman pushing him into the end zone. And by high school rules, that is a penalty, as we see the Kahuku side of the field go nuts.
Red Raiders motto this year is Red Raiders for life, and life has been breathed back into this football team.
It's gotten loud in the last 10 seconds.
Kahuku's fans just below us here in the press box, and we are rocking up here. Joel, put on your seatbelt. We're in for a ride, especially if Kahuku picks up this onside kick. And this is grabbed by the St. Louis Crusaders. The hands team doing a good job there. That looked like Junior Wong getting the football.
You know, on onside kicks like that, a lot of times coaches will tell their up guys, if it's kicked hard like that, let it go. Let your back guys get it. Here's the replay, and it is stung really hard. It's kicked pretty good. Junior Wong does a great job not bobbling this, but coaches will tell you if it's kicked hard like that, let it go because it'll go out of bounds, or let the back guys get it, and Wong just doing a very good job.
We've got everybody bouncing here on the near side of the stadium. Kahuku's fans are really jumping. If you are in the press box right now at the stadium, I hope you don't get seasick because we are shaking here. 2.5 minutes and counting left to go as St. Louis is stuffed after a 3-yard gain.
No, one first down will end this for St. Louis because they've got 2 timeouts, Kahuku with nothing. Here's the Noah Campbell handoff going right up the middle. I'll tell you, St. Louis has the deep bomb open. If they go play action, look for one of their guys down the sideline, they will get something because Kahuku has packed a lot of guys up near the line of scrimmage. And you know how in the NFL they say, that's not your TV, it's the camera because the stands are moving. In this case, it's true.
Very true. Puna Vandiola injured on the play. That is a significant loss defensively for Kahuku along the left side of their defensive line. Their defensive players trying to raise the roof here at the Aloha Stadium.
I'm telling you, watch for the play action and the deep pass downfield. I mean, Kahuku with packing so many people near the line of scrimmage, they're open.
2nd and 7 from midfield. 5 men on the line for Kahuku. Handoff. And Damian Cole stopped after a gain of 2. One more defensive stop here for Kahuku, and they will get the football back. There will not be much time left on the clock as they do not have any timeouts.
You know, unfortunately for Kahuku, 2 of their timeouts were called in really foolish situations. One was on the special teams. One was on a defense where they had too many people on the field. Here's the handoff to Damian Cole. He does not go anywhere. Here's a chance for Kahuku to get the football back.
Cole swarmed under by big sophomore Chris Kimoe Atu. 3rd and 4. Chang to pass, under pressure, screen set up, and first down St. Louis. That might be it.
What a clutch call by the St. Louis offense. I mean, they just invited all the defensive linemen to come chase Timmy Chang. He just turns around, dumps it off to his running back, and that first down will end it. Here we go to screenplay once again. It's a naked screen. Cole all by himself as he will pick up the easy first down.
Now down to a minute left to go. And Timmy Chang now content to just take a knee and keep the clock rolling. Chang, as a sophomore last year, filling in for senior Jason Gesser, helped to lead the troops downfield for a Prep Bowl victory. As a more seasoned and more polished junior, he looks to have done it again. Now down to 30 seconds.
You know, I hope Kahuku doesn't do anything foolish that makes them look bad after such a great season. They have nothing to feel bad about. I mean, they have put together an incredible season. This may be the best season by an OIA school at any time.
Eight seconds left to go on the clock. St. Louis's players headed onto the field. Crusader fans elated along the far sideline as the crusade continues here on the island of Oahu. St. Louis, 13 in a row. "13 straight Prep Bowl titles for the St. Louis Crusaders, and
what a great game. You know, St. Louis, Kahuku had their chances. The Foster drop in the end zone and the Williams-Sao touchdown that was called back because of the holding penalty, as we see the Kahuku team rally around their coach.
And Cowley, they're talking to his players.
That's Timmy Chang being interviewed by
That's Rich Miano.
Yes,
Rich
we
also
go.
working with us during the season, helping out the Oceanic folks on the sidelines.
We need to scold him about that.
He went for the money. Our internship program up here, sponsored by Les Kiter, gives everybody a chance to gain some broadcasting experience.
Not some, a lot of broad. This is a great program. If you're out there watching this tape, probably some high school student at Kahuku or St. Louis, and you're interested, give it a try.
Rich Miano getting his start here after he retired from the NFL, and he has made strides as a broadcaster doing the interview on the sideline, and Kahuku there still with their heads held up high.
We made Rich Miano.
And the Crusader player is now ready to head back across the field.
And that is Cal Lee's favorite pants and shirt. He has worn that same shirt and pants. I mean, we may be going over 10 years now, but he kind of just cleans it, brings it, sticks it in his locker in his office, and brings it out only during games.
And I'm sure the cooler has been dropped in that same pair of clothes a number of times.
Cal Lee, he doesn't. I've been down there a couple of times during his his talks after the game, and he doesn't talk much about, yeah, guys, we won. He just says, be thankful for your victory and all that kind of stuff. This is a very good team. We're lucky to get out of here with a win. He doesn't do any of that rah-rah stuff you see on a lot of post-game highlights.
And it shows in the way his players act on the field. They don't have excessive celebration penalties called against them.